Hammers made light work of Bundesliga opposition in the last 16. Leverkusen are on a different level entirely to Freiburg. And West Ham are forced into changes tonight. Jared Bowen's got a knee injury. Edson Alvarez is suspended. So Michael Antonio comes in. And so too does Aaron Cresswell. The Hammers set to switch to a back three. It's Fabianski in goal in the continued absence of Areola. Mavropanos, Zuma and Cresswell are that back three in front of him. Safal, Ward-Prowse, Souček, who's making his 200th Hammers appearance, and Emerson in midfield. And then Kudus and Paquetá in support of Big Mick Antonio up front. The Hammers bench: Johnson, Cornet, Ings, Ogbonna and Agard. Youngsters Earthy, Casey, Mabama and Orford. And substitute goalkeepers Anang and Knightbridge. Well, Leverkusen's enormous lead in the Bundesliga afforded them the luxury of changes at the weekend. They're making 7 back tonight. They're without the Czech forward Klozek, who injured his ankle in that victory. Former Southampton and Burnley wide man Nathan Teller drops to the bench. 10 of this 11 started the Pokal semi-final of the German Cup semi-final against Fortuna Düsseldorf, which they won 4-0 very recently. So it's Kovac, the former Manchester United reserve goalkeeper, who's between the sticks in a 3-4-2-1 formation. Stanisic, Tar and Tabsoba. Frimpong, Xhaka, Palacios and free kick specialist Grimaldo, with Adli and Wirtz in support of Schick, and top scorer Victor Boniface is on the bench again as he continues his comeback from a groin injury. Well, I'm delighted to say that the former Ireland international Ray Houghton's alongside me for the game tonight. Let's start, Raymond, by looking at the Hammers team. How significant a blow is it for Jared Bowen to be missing?
Yeah, it's huge for me, Jim. I think he's been absolutely sensational for West Ham this season. If you look at the wins that they've had, the goals that he's scored, his influence in matches, it's been quite incredible. But you have to get over it. They've brought Antonio in, Big Mick, as you called him. There was only one Big Mick, that was Mick McCarthy back in my day. But Antonio is a good replacement. He knows the game inside out. He'll hold the ball up in that centre-forward area, and his job is to bring the others into the game. Now, the way that both teams line up, it looks like with 3 centre-backs, and it's difficult for the striker. You know, when you're up there on your own, you really need the support. So you'll be looking for Kudus and Paquetá really as the two, not to stay wide, but when the ball's played into him, to get close to him, to get in and around him, so they can go ball. That's where Paquetá is at his best. You don't want him out wide isolated. You want him in a more central position where he can use his unbelievable ability. He's got great awareness, great vision. You know, he can change his body weight from one side to the other. He can go past players. He can create goals. He can score goals. You know, he's an all-round player. The reason why Man City allegedly have been looking at him at the moment, there's a talk about him going there at the end of the season. Why? Because he's got real quality. He's a top player, and he's just going to get better and better the more that he plays. So I think this is a decent West Ham side. Obviously, if they're born, I'd be a little bit more upbeat about scoring goals and being competitive. But this is a Leverkusen side that have been incredible. Yeah. I mean, when you think where they were last season, you know, before Xabi Alonso came, I think they were in the bottom 3. And look where they are now. They're on the cusp of winning the title. Something they've never done before. Yeah,
and that's over an 18-month spell. I mean, he took over in November 2022, and as you say, they were 15th, 16th in the Bundesliga at the time, and they're now 16 points clear at the top of the table.
Then you've got to question, why has it changed so dramatically? And you just mentioned the team selection for tonight. 7 changes from the team that won at the weekend. What was the more important game? Was it the game against Union at the weekend or tonight's game?
No, it's definitely this one.
Right, so there you go. So they already, in his mind, he's already planning. Chances are we're going to win the league. You know, massive chance of going to win. They only need one more win, and that's guaranteed. They're now looking at this competition thinking, we're in the quarterfinals against West Ham. A team that are doing well, but we're more than good enough to beat them over the 2 legs. And he's targeted this match tonight. West Ham tonight have to make sure they're focused. They have to be professional. They have to be disciplined. They mustn't overcommit players forward, because if they do that, this Leverkusen side will open you up. They've got the players to do that. I really like Wirtz up front in an advanced position. Him and Adli, I think, are 2 really good lads to support the main striker really well. They get in great positions. They get between the midfield of the opposition and the defence. And if they do, and they're free in there, they'll get turned on it, and they will go forward quickly. They won't pass it backwards and square. They'll look for the positive pass or the positive run or the shot at goal.
Well, by Leverkusen, 36 wins, 5 draws, no defeats over the course of the season, and consequently, they're heavy favourites. Time now for an odds update with William Hill.
In the Zone on Talksport 2 with official betting partner William Hill. Get epic value all season with William Hill. 18 plus, BeGambleAware.org.
And Lee Phelps joins us to discuss the latest odds ahead of kickoff. Lee, a very good evening to you. How do you see it panning out?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to come on here and make a big argument for West Ham, but just listening to what you guys are saying there, I mean, it's hard to do that, and the odds speak the same, really. West Ham are 13-2 to win away from home. It's a big price. Bayer Leverkusen 2-5. The draw 19-5. I guess the question comes here, like, we will get a chance to see how the Bundesliga weighs up against the Premier League, because this is one of the best teams in Europe at the moment, obviously Bayer Leverkusen. We all know about their standard this season, against a team in West Ham who have had a decent enough season. And obviously they really like, being in Europe at the moment. But again, find it very hard. 2-5 is a little short. I mean, whether we give West Ham a goal or not here, that might be able to push the price out to 9-5 for Bayer Leverkusen to win and both teams to score. Maybe you're just looking at one of the enhanced odds, and there's a few of them. Kudos and Ward-Prowse to both have a shot on target. Was 7-2, now 9-2. Bayer Leverkusen to come from behind and win was 13-2, now 8-1. Could be interesting. I was looking at the goal scorers and just listening again to you guys there. I think, you look at Florian Wirtz, cracking player, scores goals, been in good form recently as well, been in amongst the goals recently, scored a brace recently, assists goals as well. I think he's involved in all the good stuff that happens to the German side. He's 7-1 to score first. He's priced up at 9-4 to score at any time. I think he could get on the score sheet, whatever the result, and I think Bayer Leverkusen probably will win. And we'll think we might look back at over 2-1 for this play to score in a game like this at home as really good value. So I'll go Leverkusen to win, but I like Florian Wirtz to score.
And Lee, am I right in saying that for all the fact that Leverkusen are unbeaten in 41 and have won 19 out of 21 at home, they're not the overall favourites to win the tournament? That's Liverpool that have that favouritism, is that right?
Yeah, and that's kind of understandable, isn't it? I get why, because Liverpool kind of been there and done it. And I think maybe Bayer Leverkusen is still suffering from a bit of the kind of thing that's afflicting Arsenal's odds, in that still not really being trusted to go and get the job done, which again is understandable, and you kind of got to go with that. But, I think let's see what happens tonight. I mean, not with Liverpool necessarily, but with Bayer Leverkusen. And I think, what a fascinating game that would be, by the way, to see those two in the final of this competition. It probably a game, by the time we get to the end of this season, that would grace the Champions League final, arguably. So, yeah, understandable, but Bayer Leverkusen may just be the value in the outright market as well. OK, Lee, thank you very much for your thoughts. Those today's odds and the update coming from William Hill. You can get epic value all season with William Hill. 18+, begambleaware.org.
In the Zone on Talksport 2 with official betting partner William Hill, giving you the tools for positive play. Take time to think and know your limits. 18+, begambleaware.org.
You're listening to the Europa League live on Talksport 2 with Village Hotels. Find everything under one roof for a great break away at Village Hotels. Kick-off just a little over 5 minutes away. Ray, we talked about the change of shape for West Ham. That's been enforced to a large extent because of the absence of Alvarez through suspension and no Calvin Phillips either, who can't come back in. Calvin is injured. You talked earlier off-air about the fact that you quite like the fact that it's a match-up and that they're prepared to go sort of man for man all over the field.
Yeah, toe-to-toe with them. Yeah, I think there are occasions, Jimmy, you've got to look at your system and say, is that the best one when you're playing against the opposition that you are? Predominantly they play with, well, you were saying, the last time they played with a back three was quite a while ago. It's not something David does even, ad hoc, now and again. This is like once in a blue moon. It sort of comes up with a back three like this, but maybe he's been forced, and it's like he could still have played with a back four. Soufal could have went to right back, Cresswell left back. There you go. That's simple enough. But he didn't want to do that. It looks like he wants to try and match him up, play the same sort of system, and then everyone knows their job. There's no grey area. Everyone knows positionally where you should be, who you should be picking up. What area of the field that you should be in, and then you can go man for man in the midfield areas where it's always a battle, and whoever wins that area of field normally goes on to win the game. But it's just a fascinating encounter. This is a fabulous stadium. The noise in here is going to be absolutely electric. You just mentioned there, was it 19 out of 21 wins at home?
Yeah.
That in itself tells you how difficult the task is for West Ham. But you've got to make sure that you keep your discipline, keep your professionalism.
And I would imagine as the teams come out, it must play on your mind, because West Ham have to be in a position tonight that they're not playing all the numbers. They're not playing a team that are unbeaten in 41. They're merely playing the 11 in black and red shirts that are facing them. How difficult is that to do?
Well, no, what they have got over Leverkusen, though, Jim, and they've got the experience. This is their third quarter-final. So, you know, that in itself tells you that West Ham have been there, seen it, done it. They know what nights like this are all about. They know how to handle the pressure. They know what it's going to be like in this stadium. They've been to other stadiums where it's been like this, and they've come through it. So that'll keep them in a very solid position. But first 15 minutes is key, because the home support certainly are going to be behind Leverkusen. They're going to come out quickly. They're going to take the game to West Ham and find out how nervous they are. Positionally, are they all right with the little change it looks like they might have made for tonight's game? Yeah, the little feelers you put out, you know, and say, right, where's the areas where we might have an advantage tonight? Play to your strengths, look after your weaknesses. That's what they're going to be doing, this Leverkusen side, early on to West Ham, just to see what they're like. I think this is a fascinating encounter. There's no reason why West Ham can't get a good result tonight, but they mustn't, you know, allow the occasion to get to them, in the sense that this team are playing so well. Their support is so loud and so noisy in the stadium. You've got to be ready for it. And as I said, the fact that they've been here before in a quarter-final of a European competition on 2 other occasions apart from tonight, will suggest that they're more than capable of being able to go out there and give a really good account of themselves.
They've only conceded 31 goals all season, Leverkusen, in 41 games. But in the last round against Karabakh from Azerbaijan, they conceded twice in each leg. What do you think West Ham will have seen over those 2 games that will give them hope? Where do you think that they can exploit Xabi Alonso's men?
Not every game is the same. You've got to play the game on its merits. You've got to look. West Ham would have done their due diligence. They'll be looking at where's the weakness inside. Is there areas we can affect the game? So what you'll be looking for is Kudus and Paquetá. They're the ones. Get them on the ball as much as you can. When you get it, don't do the simple thing and go backwards and square. We don't want you to do that. We want you to be as purposeful as you can be in possession of the ball. Take chances. Football is a gamble at times. It's about playing the right pass at the right time, putting it in behind. You're hoping that Antonio's pace is going to be a problem for the back 3 of Leverkusen. Don't disappoint. If the ball's there to be played, play it in and get runners in behind and see if you get chances. Quieten the crowd down. First 15 minutes, that's part of your job. Quieten this home support down, and if you can do that, then you play your way into the match.
Well, there have been 2 games already in Europe that have finished today in the Conference League. Olympiacos beat Fenerbahce 3-2 in the first leg of their quarterfinals. Pulsen 0, Fiorentina 0 was the result of the other. Aston Villa are in action tonight. They're at home to Lille. We'll keep you abreast with that game, and also Club Brugge against PAOK, which is the other game in the Conference League. We've got a choice of listening for you on the Talksport network. As always, Liverpool at home to Atalanta is on live right now at 8 o'clock kickoff at Anfield, and that's over on Talksport with Dean Ashton, the former England striker, alongside Sam Matterface. The winners of this one will be taking on either Benfica or Marseille in the semi-finals. So West Ham white shirts with claret numbering, and Leverkusen black shirts with a big red cross on the front and red markings on the back. Referee tonight, Artur Dias, who took charge of England's defeat to Brazil last month. Huge night as far as West Ham United are concerned. But Leverkusen also a team that have got recent good European experience. They've only reached 1 European semi-final in 21 years, but it was last year. Well, they made it through to the last 4. We're underway. West Ham trying to crack the impenetrable Leverkusen. 41 unbeaten in all competitions. It's a vibrant Bay Arena, as you can imagine. West Ham cast in the role of party poopers tonight to try and deny the German side a potential treble. How will they be able to go about it in the absence of both Bowen and Alvarez? Bayer Leverkusen kicking from left to right in this first half. Hammers defending the end away to the right-hand side. Early possession for Tapsoba. He's able to bring the ball forward and play it out towards Grimaldo. Grimaldo, such a talent. He's got more goals and assists combined than any other defender in any of Europe's top 5 leagues this season. Excellent penalty taker, free kick specialist as well. And that will be something that West Ham will have to guard against, as indeed Leverkusen will have to watch for the powers of James Ward-Prowse from set-piece delivery. It's one of the facets of this game that's so fascinating. 2 of the very best set-piece exponents in the game, one on either side. Plenty of early possession here for Leverkusen, with Stanisic playing it down towards Frimpong on the right-hand side. Ward-Prowse is there with a little header to flick the ball from Palacios away, and then Jonathan Tah will turn it across the Tapsoba inside the centre circle, and West Ham are more than happy just to keep a tight, regimented defensive shape and not let Leverkusen play through it.
Well, it's a back five when they haven't got the ball, West Ham, isn't it? You can see that it's so fouls in the right half of the field over there with the three centre-backs, Emerson in the looks like left-back position. Don't even playing as a left wing-back when they get the ball, you try to get forward as much as possible. But Wirtz is the one already, Jimmy. You know, the way they play is a 3-4-2-1, but he's been given licence, him and Adley, to rotate wherever they want to go. He doesn't pick up any one position. He was over in the left channel one moment there, he's on the right, where he just got the free kick, where they're about to deliver the ball into the 18-yard box.
So a chance to swing it in, left-footed. Grimaldo will actually leave it. It's going to be fired in by Wirtz in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. A very good defensive header, and a bang to the back of Safal's head as well. No foul in the eyes of the referee, but he has stopped play because Safal has picked up a knock to the back of the head, and he's going to be attended to.
Yeah, I think it was Tapsoba coming in. It was no fault of the Leverkusen player, because as it was delivered, it was a really good ball into the 6-yard box. Safal tried to just arch his head back to head it away from going in. In doing so, his head went back into the Leverkusen player and caught him, and he came off the worst of the two. Good ball in though, wasn't it? Whipped in with real pace there from Wirtz.
I will keep you up to date with all of the goals as they go in. Some important non-league games tonight. One in National League South, the Truro against Yeovil. Yeovil promoted unless they lose that game in Gloucester this evening away to Truro, and they're already ahead. Rhys Murphy with the goal. And it looks as though the promotion party for Mark Cooper's Glovers has already started. Now Banbury can be relegated from the National League North tonight, and we will keep you updated. The ball is over on the right-hand side for Bayer Leverkusen in the opening 3-4 minutes of this Europa League quarter-final first leg. West Ham yet to really get a touch of the ball, particularly in Leverkusen territory. They might be able to now, as it will just be a chip down towards the left-hand side, and Paquetá has bought the free kick from Jeremy Frimpong, the former Manchester City and Celtic man, just catching it.
Well, the way that West Ham are playing at the moment, they're getting everyone back into the defensive position. The problem with that, Jim, is when you win it, you've got no outball, because Antonio would come back to help out defensively. He came to Paquetá and he gets in possession of the ball, and he looks downfield, there's no one to play the ball to. He has to take an extra touch, and that was when Frimpong came in to make the challenge on him. Completely mistimed it, missed the ball, caught the West Ham player and gave away the free kick.
You're listening to Bayer Leverkusen against West Ham in the Europa League. It's live on Talksport 2 with Village Hotels. Visit villagehotels.com. Antonio claiming a throw, and the referee concurred. It's a throw that Emerson is going to take level with the edge of the Leverkusen penalty area. Thrown in field towards Paquetá. Leverkusen with enough back in black and red to get it away. Xhaka to Jonathan Tah, his captain. It was a ball that he didn't really want. Hit briskly at him inside his own penalty area, but he was able to deal with it. West Ham committed bodies forward, and as a result, Leverkusen tried then on the counter-attack to work it behind the back line, but it was swept up effectively by Cresswell and put out of play for a throw, which is going to have to be taken again. The Portuguese referee Artur Dias not happy with the initial put-in. We're 5 minutes in here on Talksport 2. And it's still Leverkusen nil, West Ham nil.
Well, you see with Leverkusen, very adept in possession of the ball, got good movement about them, but not afraid to play the ball forward quickly, as we've just seen on that occasion. West Ham have got numbers forward from the throw-in deep in the Leverkusen half. And when they change over a possession, they played it quickly down that right channel where they won the throw-in, didn't do the best with it. The ball went into Wirtz, and then he tried to play a forward pass, which was never on, which West Ham defended well enough. But the noise in the stadium is absolutely electric.
Grimaldo with the heavily tattooed arms making his way forward, playing the ball back through the midfield for Granit Xhaka, such a familiar figure after his 300 or so games in Arsenal colours. Only lost one of his 14 matches against West Ham when he was an Arsenal player. Back for Palacios. Palacios to Jonathan Tah. Tah rolling it forward into the feet of Granit Xhaka. Now Tapsoba, the Burkina Faso international. Left-footed ball clipped inside the box. Zuma just ducks there, headed away. West Ham captain getting it out towards that left-hand touchline again. Adley, nice little flick round the corner from him. Good interplay between him and Grimaldo. Latest header away comes from Souček inside his own penalty area. Hammers forced to defend mob-handedly here. Bayer Leverkusen with some very neat passing football, all at close range around the edge of the box. Comes out for Stanisic, centre half with a shot which took a little flick off Schick. And that wrong-footed Fabianski. There was no power on the shot. His handling wasn't good, but no one following up in time to embarrass him, and he got down and saved the ricochet.
Yeah, absolutely. Strike came in from Stanisic from about 20 yards out. We've never got any trouble. Fabianski in the goal, and Schick just got a little back flick to it, which took it off the direction the keeper was already going towards to try and save the initial shot. That's why he had to react a little bit later to the second attempt there from Schick. He done okay in the end, just to palm it away. There was no danger. There was no Leverkusen player coming in to follow up. But better from them. They're going to have to keep doing that, being really clever in possession of the ball, because West Ham are defending very, very deep.
Cresswell taking a throw. He scored one of the goals against Freiburg in that sensational win, the biggest that West Ham have ever had in European competition, in the quarter-final second leg. Poor down at the Black Forest in the first leg, lost 1-0, turned it around so impressively with a 5-0 success in the second. And it's that's booked this quarter-final. Leverkusen, for their part, beating Karabakh, the Azerbaijani side, 5-4 on aggregate. And they twice rescued their season-long unbeaten record in stoppage time in those games. Late equaliser in the first leg, and then a late equaliser and a late winner, both in stoppage time in the second. They went through 5-4 on aggregate, keep their treble dream alive. Jonathan Tah, their centre-half. Nearly 350 games for the club, the German international. He's worked it back for the goalkeeper, the youngster Matic Kovac, who had loan spells at both Swindon Town and Burton Albion, and not too many European quarter-finalists this season can say that.
I'm just looking at the position where Paquetá and Kudus are. They're not playing really wide, they're playing really narrow, quite close to Antonio. And the width's going to come from the two wing-backs, Sofal on the right and Emerson on the left-hand side. But as soon as they get possession, Leverkusen, you can see the West Ham players automatically, they're going back, 10 yards outside their 18-yard box, and they're going to defend deep. They're going to allow them, they know they're going to have much more possession of the ball.
Stanisic trying to roll it forward inside the penalty area for the striker Patrick Schick. West Ham get it away to Paquetá. Good quick feet from him, and then Ward-Prowse, and he can work it down the left-hand side. Antonio poking it past Tah, and he's got goal side of him, and he's knocked it square for Kudus, and a left-footed shot was really poor. Brilliant opening from West Ham United. Antonio with a magnificent exhibition of counter-attacking football, and he played it into Mohamed Kudus' path. He scored a spectacular goal against Freiburg in the round of 16, but he couldn't replicate that finish with a tame effort straight at the keeper.
Well,
here.
that was the problem there, Jim. It was a really tame effort there from Kudus, after some brilliant work from Antonio. His pace was absolutely electric to get away from Tah. Then the vision and awareness to play into the path of Kudus.
Now Adley at the other end, and that one's punched away by the diving Fabianski. Now to the left-hand side for Grimaldo. Leverkusen with the vast majority of possession through the opening 10 minutes. West Ham with a really good opening on the counter-attack. Here's Frimpong. And take it on inside the penalty area. It's knocked away from him. Paquetá doing so much work deep. Again, they looked to try and expose Antonio against Jonathan Tah, but they couldn't get the ball over the top of the Leverkusen back line for Antonio to run onto. And the Germans were clear.
That was unlike Paquetá, because there was so much space to play the ball into, and it was a foot race once again between Antonio and Tah. And Antonio was in behind him. His start position was good, he was onside. It just needed a bit more elevation on the pass from Paquetá in behind the Leverkusen captain. That could have been a real opportunity for West Ham. Some good signs for West Ham at the moment.
Stanisic knocking it inside the penalty area for Patrick Schick. Back out towards Frimpong. Faced up by Emerson. He's played it back towards Stanisic again. The centre-half forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Ward-Prowse was in with a well-timed challenge, and Kudus might be able to bring it away here. He's flicked it through the midfield. Leverkusen defending mob-handedly came and shut the space in front of him. And Xabi Alonso's men are going to be able to bring it forward again. They'll work it out to the inside left channel for the smallest man on the pitch, Florian Wirtz. What a talent, just 20 years of age. And Already got 16 German caps to his name. Adley scuffing it. Found his way through towards Fabianski. Zuma sensibly didn't take any chances, and he clears his lines and puts it out of play for a throw.
Great defensive work though from Kudus. If you look at where he ran from to get back to help out in a central position inside the 18-yard box, he just got the merest of touches as Adley was just setting himself to get a strike with his left foot. Just got a little nick on it. The West Ham wide player just to play it back to his goalkeeper. Excellent defending.
Stanisic for Jonathan Tah inside the centre circle. Palacios. Back to Tah again. Now Granit Xhaka able to bring the ball forward. Xhaka, who won 3 Europa League quarter-finals as an Arsenal player, runner-up in the competition in 2019 when they were beaten by Chelsea in that particular final. Adley snatching an effort that was come shot. He was alive in the presence of Frimpong at the far post, but couldn't divert it inside the far post or find Frimpong. And he goes out of play for a goal kick that'll be taken by Łukasz Fabianski for West Ham United, who are 0-0.
Just on that opportunity there, Frimpong got in behind Emerson. Emerson didn't even realise where he was. When the strike came in from Adley, he cut across it, and it was a bit of a cross shot, really, if you like. And as it was going over towards the far post, Frimpong wasn't too far away from getting on the end of it, and the defender Emerson was just caught ball watching. Just got to be careful of that West Ham.
Another significant game in the relegation battle in the National League South. Taunton down to 10 men. They've had their goalkeeper Dan Lavercombe sent off, and Slough scored the resulting penalty. It's Taunton 0, Slough 1. That, incidentally, the 5th of 9 games that Taunton have to play in the space of 20 days. They're in the bottom 3 and in relegation trouble. They're trading tonight as Leverkusen bring the ball forward. Mentioned earlier as well, Banbury will be relegated if they don't win at Spennymoor tonight in National League North. And they're trailing 1-0. It looks as though they're going to be going down. Here's Granit Xhaka. 13 gone. Leverkusen 0, West Ham 0. On the left-hand side of the penalty area, Vert's trying to flick one round the corner. Grimaldo was there. Stanisic invited forward. Often the free man as he comes to join in around the edge of the penalty area. It's just waved back out of the way now as Palacios takes over. The Argentine finding Granit Xhaka. Xhaka with a poor ball out of the left-hand touchline, and Tapsoba had to go up through the gears to make sure he was going to be able to keep it in. West Ham just dropping back, keeping the line of 4 right in front of the line of 5, which is set very deep. High ball inside the area looking for Schick, and it's headed away. Stanisic, Schick, back for Stanisic again. Centre-half going back behind square for Granit Xhaka. 2 central midfielders combining. Xhaka will play it out towards the left-hand side. Verts inside the penalty area. Grimaldo, wide of the referee, Tapsoba. Everybody forward. The deepest of the Leverkusen outfield players is near the edge of the D here. Ball onto the left-hand side of the penalty area. It's Palacios with the shot, taking a deflection and spoons over the bar and out of play for a Bayer Leverkusen corner.
Lots of good possession football from Leverkusen, 1 and 2 touch. They're just trying to work the opening, aren't they? Palacios with a strike, it came off Ward-Prowse, who got close enough to get the block in to divert it behind for a corner.
Now the deadlock has been broken in the Conference League. Villa a goal up at home to Lille. Ollie Watkins 25th of the season. Corner taken by Leverkusen, easily dealt with. Ward-Prowse can head that away. So it's Villa 1, Lille 0. As Villa look for a 6th straight home win in Europe. It's the side in the top 4 in France. And Emery's men are leading. The other game taking place in the Conference League tonight in the 8 o'clock kickoffs there. Bruges already a goal up at home to PAOK Salonika. This one is 0-0, and it's 0-0 at Anfield, live over on Talksport for you between Liverpool and Atalanta. Jonathan Tah. A right-footed cross out towards the left-hand side of the penalty area. Hammers can easily get that away. Then a long-range shot from Tapsoba is blocked. Stanisic heads it forward. Emerson heads it away. And it goes out of play with Xabi Alonso acting as the ball boy. It's a throw which will be taken on the Leverkusen right. 15 minutes in, it's 0-0, and here's Ray Houghton.
Yeah, they're very deep, aren't they, West Ham, virtually on the edge of their 18-yard box at the moment, making it difficult for Leverkusen to play in behind them. Just in a ball played over the top, they're trying to pick out Adley. It's a good run. Tapsoba with the ball over the top, a little bit too much on it. I think that's what's going to have to happen. It's either going to be a little 1-2, a little give and go that gets in behind them, but they're not going to get many crosses where they're going to win headers, because when you look at the back line of West Ham and how tall they are, you don't expect Leverkusen to win too many aerial duels, and just seen Xabi Alonso in his technical area just having a word with one or two of these players. I think he's trying to just tell them, just say, slow things down a little bit, just be a little bit more patient in possession of the ball.
Fabianski's going to get the first hurry up of the night from referee Houghton. So he put the ball down, was preparing to take the goal kick, and then thought he saw something upfield and stopped, and went back to take it again. Nobody bought that, and the referee has just told the 38-year-old to desist with the time wasting. The next time he's going to get booked. West Ham looked to play an early ball over the top for Antonio, who'd stumbled, and Leverkusen will be able to bring it forward. It is the first ever meeting between these two sides. Leverkusen have actually got a lousy record against English opposition in Europe. They've won only 4 out of 21 games against English teams down the years, 3 out of 11 at home. But then this isn't an ordinary Leverkusen team and an ordinary Leverkusen season. I was mentioning earlier, so far at home this season, only Dortmund and Borussia Mönchengladbach have left with draws. Everybody else beaten, and they've scored 50 more goals at home than they've let in. High ball inside the penalty area here. Schick heads it wide. Looping header that lacked any power, let alone direction. And it's easy for Fabianski to watch it wide, and it remains 0-0.
Just think with Frimpong there, there's occasions where, you know, as a wide player, you've got to take on your fullback. And he's 1v1 against Emerson, and he's not trying to get to the byline and then fire the ball in low and hard across the face of the goal, where they might get a bit more joy. There, he's just got half a yard and he just floated the ball in the air. And it was really difficult for Schick to generate any power or direction on it and really trouble Fabianski in the goal. You know, 18 minutes into the game, I think West Ham will be reasonably happy the way things have gone. They've looked solid enough. They've just got to be careful that when they do go forward, they don't overcommit.
So Grimaldo, there's a good ball in from the left flank that scooted along the edge of the 6-yard box. Frimpong couldn't get there, but the right wing back has recycled it now on the right-hand side of the Leverkusen penalty area and tries to work it forward. Stanisic will go back for Jonathan Tah. He goes square to his left-hand side for Tapsoba. Centre half with little 1-2 into the feet of Palacios in the midfield. And then plays it out towards the left-hand side where Wirtz will turn it around the corner, but not well, because Antonio's there and he's going to be able to pick it up. And then when he literally picks the ball up, he's forced the referee's hand. He's given him a free kick for a foul by Palacios.
You know, that last attack for Leverkusen, when Grimaldo, the left wing back, fires the ball across the 6-yard box, Frimpong's got to be coming in. That's his job as the wide player, to come in at the far post. He's around the tap-in, but he's watching it develop rather than acting on it. He's reacting, and you can see he's gone too late. And he realised, he put his hand up, he apologised, because he knew that he should have been in a better position inside that 6-yard box to tap it beyond Fabianski.
Safar's just been able to work the ball forward down the West Ham United right. And then as it went back to the goalkeeper, Antonio put a huge amount of early pressure on Kovac. Left-footed shot comes in from the edge of the penalty area here at the other end, which Fabianski saves. Grimaldo struggling really sweetly, but tipped away and out of play.
And movement on the ball. Power generated from a standing position there, Grimaldo. You talked about the goals and the assists he's had this season, so you should have expected he's only hit it from, 25 yards out on the angle. Tested Fabianski all the way, and the keeper was at full stretch to keep it out.
11 goals this season in all competitions for the former Benfica man from wing-back. And in the Bundesliga, it's 9 goals and 11 assists. He's got a corner here, 20 minutes in. It remains Leverkusen 0, West Ham United 0 on Talksport 2. Grimaldo with a very deep corner, which is nodded down towards the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away on the edge of the 6 by Antonio, and then Kudus battling on the edge of his own penalty area. He's able to play Paquetá. Paquetá brilliantly turning out of trouble. Now taking it down towards the touchline, but he's been dispossessed. And Leverkusen are able to bring it forward. Players from both sides ending up on the deck. And Paquetá with the most stringent challenge of them all. And Leverkusen players reacting very angrily indeed. And players from both sides getting involved. The Brazilian is booked. VAR will be having a look at it to see whether a yellow card is the correct decision.
He just lost his way, Jim, didn't he? He wasn't happy with a challenge that Adley had placed on him, and then he reacted to it. He came in, and I'm not sure if he caught him with his foot or his right arm, but you could tell that he wasn't happy. He just lashed out. Certainly caught the Leverkusen player right in front of the referee, and that's why there was such a reaction from not only the Leverkusen players on the pitch, but the substitutes come running over as well to get involved, and the referee done the right thing, just separating both teams and giving the yellow card to Paquetá.
He can't have any complaints about his 11th yellow card of the season, but from a West Ham perspective, that's a rush of blood to the head, because it rules him out of the second leg through suspension.
Yeah, players like that can ill afford to do it. He's one of those players who plays on the edge, doesn't he? He felt there was a foul on him that wasn't given by the referee, and then he reacted. Actually seen it the other night from Jude Bellingham. He done something very similar in the game against Manchester City. He was fouled, got up. He was a bit petulant in his reaction, went over, made the challenge, and put his arm out, which gave away the free kick and got him a yellow card.
So we're midway through the first half. It's Leverkusen 0, West Ham United 0. Paquetá in the book. In comes a free kick from Wirtz, and it's an innocuous header that goes wide. Shit going up for us, just come off the top of his head. Now West Ham United are through to the midway stage of the first half, unscathed, with the exception of that yellow card for Lucas Paquetá. Now the winners of this will play Milan or Roma in the semi-finals of the competition, and Roma lead in the San Siro. Gianluca Mancini has scored there, so Roma a goal up away at Milan. The winners of the Liverpool-Atalanta game take on the winners of Benfica and Marseille. Benfica 1, Marseille 0. Rafa's 20th goal of the season. Portuguese side's leading scorer, giving them the advantage at the Estadio de Luz tonight. Emerson for West Ham United. It's 0-0, 23 gone, and another challenge. Paquetá has given away another free kick. Now that wasn't nearly as naughty as the last one, but he has to be careful.
He's got to be very careful now. Wirtz is still down at the moment. Paquetá's just standing over him, and the referee should really have a word with him. Yeah, he stood on his foot, didn't he? I mean, he's mistimed it completely. I don't think it warrants a second yellow card personally, but you've got to be so careful now. The manager's got to have a word with him just to calm him down and get his focus right for the remaining minutes on the pitch. I actually seen David Moyes going to speak to the fourth official, because it wasn't the fact that he got a yellow card, but he wasn't happy with the initial challenge on Paquetá, that he felt that the referee should have done more about it, allowed play to continue, and that's when you got the reaction from Paquetá when he made the challenge on Adley.
We're 24 minutes in. 0-0. Fabianski's had a couple of saves to make. He's had nothing spectacular to do. West Ham arguably have had the best opportunity of the game with that very early break. Antonio feeding Kudus, who couldn't do any more than hit the target in a really good position. West Ham United, I thought, had won themselves a throw. It has been given the other way, taken quickly by Frimpong, who played more than 50 games for Celtic near the start of his career. Granit Xhaka bending it in, handed away by Safar. Out towards Kudus, whose work rate has been exemplary in these early stages, and he's now been caught as he made his way forward. Patrick Schick retreating, just tapping his ankles, and it's a free kick to West Ham.
Well, the players have got to be careful at the moment, because as soon as they're just getting touched, they're throwing themselves to the ground. It was a foul, there's no doubt. There was contact from Schick on Kudus, which was spotted by the referee, but you can hear the home support. They're getting involved as well now. Every challenge, they're going to be asking questions of the referee, what you're going to do about it. So West Ham now just got to try and make sure that they keep themselves calm, and here already with Paquetá's on the ball, and the sort of response that the Leverkusen fans are giving him.
You're listening to Bayer Leverkusen against West Ham in the Europa League. It's live on Talksport 2 with Village Hotels. Visit villagehotels.com. West Ham trying to make their way forward down the near touchline as we look at it. Their left, haven't been able to do so successfully, but a poor ball from Leverkusen through the midfield sees Kudus get possession back almost instantly. Now it goes out towards Safal, who dallied and waited for movement ahead of him before firing it up the touchline, and very nearly didn't get the opportunity. He was closed down so quickly. But Adley has ended up conceding a throw, and then as Safal took the throw and found Ward-Prowse, there was such little quality in the ball back that it went straight out of play for an instant Leverkusen throw.
Yeah, that's one of the things West Ham don't want to do when they've got possession, give it back so quickly or cheaply to Leverkusen, as they did on that occasion. And it was an easy ball for Ward Prowse just to lay back into the path of Soufal. So laid it straight out for a throw into the opposition.
Palacios in the heart of the midfield, bringing it forward. And play has been almost exclusively inside the West Ham United half. I haven't seen an action area statistic, but I would imagine it would be something like 5%, 45%, 50% over the 3/3 as we look at the pitch from left to right, with the 5% being the amount of time the ball, the Hammers have had it in Leverkusen territory. Palacios to his left-hand side, Thirds with an effort from distance that hit Dinos Mavropanos, and then cleverly worked forward through the midfield. An opportunity for Kudus. Kudus, round one challenge, round a second. Lays it off to Ward Prowse, now to Paquetá. It's an option out to his right-hand side as Soufal makes his way forward. Better from West Ham United. Good possession inside Leverkusen territory. Really good ball retention as well. Paquetá lending the ball down to the left-hand side for Emerson and wanting it straight back again. It actually went back for Cresswell instead. And the two left-sided West Ham defenders exchange more passes before Cresswell goes back through the centre circle for Mavropanos. Everybody's back behind the ball for Leverkusen now. West Ham just having a touch of the ball and a little bit of a breather in possession for the rare times that they haven't had to chase. Then Cresswell plays it forward. Paquetá on the stretch, couldn't control it, and it goes out of play for a Leverkusen throw.
Yeah, it was a good passage of play from West Ham. They retained possession, but there has to be a but in there, Jim. They're not getting any Paquetá quickly enough, and you could just see why his response there. He turned around to Emerson, turned around to Cresswell, and trust me, give me the ball in advanced positions and let me show you what I can do as far as picking out the next positive pass, because he's the one. You know, at the moment, he could be the game changer for West Ham.
Frimpong for Leverkusen. Oh, and he's got it back on the right-hand side of the penalty area, and he did well to turn and whip in a low ball towards the edge of the 6-yard box. West Ham clear it, and Cresswell will whack it away from inside his own penalty area for a throw much nearer halfway. Stanisic, the young Croatian, who's on loan from Bayern Munich, takes the throw quickly. Into the feet of Palacios. Back for Josip Stanisic again. Stanisic behind square for Palacios. Just having their own private game for a moment. Xhaka now takes over. Xhaka towards the bottom right-hand corner of the penalty area that West Ham are defending. Frimpong getting it back. Loose ball is cleared out as far as Palacios. Chip back towards the edge of the penalty area again, where Frimpong is still making life difficult. 3 white shirts around him, and then coming back, Kudus wires into a challenge. He didn't win it cleanly. Vets trying to bring it on inside the box. Frimpong likewise trying to do that. The two of them, both relatively slightly built, but it was heads down trying to bulldoze their way through the West Ham back line. There were enough bodies back for the Hammers and forest of legs that made it impenetrable, and West Ham eventually are able to clear back towards halfway, but inevitably by Leverkusen coming straight back into their territory again.
But you can look at Mavropanos, Cresswell and Zuma. They're happy to defend deep. They don't want to be caught out higher up the pitch.
Now the left-hand side of the penalty area, a shot comes in from Schick, and Fabianski did well, diving to his left, and just got his palm to it to help it away and out for another corner.
Oh, that's where Schick got between the two centre-backs on that occasion. Mavropanos and Zuma, no one picking him up. His first touch wasn't that great. Second one was much better. Struck it with his left foot across Fabianski. He was at full stretch to keep it out.
Yeah, it was a good save. There's Palacios from the corner, which was worked short. Palacios has it again in a central position for Leverkusen. It's 0-0. We played half an hour on Talksport 2. Jim Proudfoot and Ray Houghton talking you through the action as West Ham get a goal kick, the ball over the top. Soufal battling with it. It's a good battle between Soufal and Patrick Schick, players that know each other extremely well, long-time international teammates, and of course Souček, another one of the Czech Republic internationals who's on show tonight. Schick might feel that he's just on top at the moment. He's forced a couple of decent saves out of Fabianski, who again tests the referee's patience before launching the ball upfield.
I'll tell you, it was a top-class save though when you see it again, wasn't it? The angle when you see it from that left-hand side of the field, when he hit it across and he was at full stretch. I thought initially it was going to go wide, it was going to go in. So the keeper had to get something on it. Really good touch from Fabianski.
Has played 8 of the 9 European ties this season now, Łukasz Fabianski. Started the last 2 Premier League games as well in the absence of Areola. out with a groin problem at the moment. 14 to go to half-time. And Fabianski again takes control inside his 6-yard box and will just rush forward and pick it up. West Ham have done well. They've laid a solid foundation up to this point.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. As I say, I think you've got players who are happy to defend deep. They don't want to be caught higher up the pitch and then balls played in behind them. I was looking at Wirtz, who, we talked about being a top player for them. Only young, so you're saying he was 20 years of age, but this season he's been excellent. There was a little spell where he was out the game. You didn't see a great deal of him. In the last few minutes, he's come alive. He's really been a lot more alert, picking up really good positions, little 1-2s, and been an influence now.
He's playing as an inside 4 behind Patrick Schick. He's just won a free kick from Mavropanos. He's got 6 goals in his last 7 games.
Grimaldo range?
It's very much a Grimaldo range. Well, most places are, to be fair, but we talked before the game started about the need for both of these clubs not to concede daft free kicks around the edge of the penalty area because of the quality of Grimaldo and Ward-Prowse. Actually, where the ball has been placed, where the referees put the spray down, it's further back than I thought, so it's right at the limit of range. Fabianski's not taking any chances. He's got a 2-man wall, which is 5 yards outside the penalty area. It has been worked square rather than a direct shot being taken, and Stanisic will go back for Granit Xhaka. And now it's played out towards the left-hand side, and Grimaldo will now get his foot on the ball. Very quickly back into another phase of attacking open play around the edge of the West Ham box. We've seen plenty of those. Ball fired in here. Zuma sweeps up, knocks it away. Very grateful to be able to get there ahead of Schick. Goes back out towards Adley, the Moroccan international, who's been lively. And Kudus, back defending, has done well in conjunction with Antonio. The pair of them doing a lot of work around the edge of their own box. The ball eventually is cleared high up in the air from Safar. Ward-Prowse hammers after it, and that was needless. It's just barreled into the back of Palacios and given a free kick away.
However, the referee, very lenient there, could easily have given Ward-Prowse a yellow card because there was no attempt to play the ball, was there? Once again, that was just a bit of petulance when it just came into the back of Palacios. No attempt to try and win the ball, just pushed them over. The last bit of defending from West Ham, though, Kurt Zouma done brilliantly. You really got into a very good central position to clear the danger for West Ham.
Here's Tapsoba. 20 yards outside the penalty area. Here on Talksport 2. Over on Talksport, it's still 0-0 between Liverpool and Atalanta. This one goalless as well. We've got the second legs for you next week. This time next week, as I know you're aware, we've got the pick of the games involving the Hammers and Liverpool and Villa as well, as a shot comes in from the edge of the penalty area from the centre half. Tapsoba, who's something of a cup goal specialist. He's scored way more goals in cups than he has in the league in his career. Fabianski diving down to his right-hand side made a comfortable save to that.
He's been very alert, Fabianski, hasn't he? I think he's made about 3 or 4 good saves. And when you look back at the efforts that Leverkusen have had in this 34 minutes we've played so far, I think at least 3 of them, there's been very, very good saves where he's been very alert.
James Ward-Prowse into the feet of Paquetá and straight back again. 10 minutes to go to the break. Ward-Prowse playing it back. Mavropanos. Out to the right-hand side for Ward-Prowse and back again. Now to Fabianski and back out to Mavropanos once more, who has scored against Leverkusen in the Bundesliga in the past. Nice goalkeeper Fabianski working it forward through the midfield. Antonio given very little change by Jonathan Tah, the sweeper for Leverkusen. West Ham win the seconds and launch it forward, but it's just a hopeful ball hooked through towards the edge of the penalty area. Mate Kovac, the Leverkusen goalkeeper, had all the time in the world to be able to get on that. He's only the second choice goalkeeper, incidentally. The Finnish international Lukas Kradetsky is the first choice, but it is young Kovac who's been playing in the European ties this season. Xhaka goes out towards the left-hand side of the midfield for Leverkusen. Still, they will bring the ball forward. Wirtz to Grimaldo. Grimaldo laying it back for Palacios. Granit Xhaka. Ball in towards the feet of Wirtz on the edge of the penalty area, but he didn't read it in time as Adley, the other inside forward, came and Just trying to flick it into his path. That allowed West Ham to get it away. Antonio trying to hold it up, flicked it over his own shoulder. Now he can choose that. He's majestic. He's got a man in the centre if he can get it across. But he played it in behind Paquetá, and it's cleared by Stanisic. But that is how to lead the line as a number 9 from Mikel Antonio. It was majestic.
I'll tell you what, that is absolutely brilliant. 3 players in and around him, and you look at second favourite all over the park, not to get in possession of the ball, but there's his strength and his pace, and just that final cross he couldn't quite get right to pick out Paquetá, who's coming in at the far post. But excellent work from Mikel Antonio. He's the threat, isn't he? That's what you have to do as a centre forward, hold the ball up and try to bring your teammates into the game.
So West Ham have the first opportunity for a long throw. It's headed on from Safal's delivery and then bounces down on the edge of the 6-yard box before Stanisic, the epitome of calm, just chests it back to his goalkeeper.
Yeah, but Paquetá should have been on top of him. He shouldn't be allowed to have done that. Once again, the ball's bobbling about inside the 18-yard box, and Paquetá's caught on his heels. And when the ball bounced, he should have been on top of Stanisic to put him under pressure, not allow him just to chest it back easily to his goalkeeper.
West Ham have it again. Now working back for Zuma. A reminder that Villa are leading in the Conference League. And thanks to Ollie Watkins' 25th goal of the season. Villa 1, Lille 0, Liverpool 0, Atalanta 0, Leverkusen 0, West Ham United 0. More important non-league goals. Banbury, remember, could be relegated tonight. They're 3-1 down at Spennymoor, who'll be in the playoff places if it ends that way tonight. The ball over on the right-hand side with West Ham. Good ball inside the penalty area, headed away by Stanisic. And Antonio is claiming that he was pushed as he made a run into the centre of the 6-yard box. Ball was delivered deeper, but has Jonathan Tah fouled him? The pair of them were at it for a good 5 seconds before the ball got there. Antonio's claiming a penalty, but I don't think the VAR will give it him.
I'll tell you what, though, there's plenty of pushing and shoving inside that 18-yard box, isn't there? And certainly Tah's manhandling Antonio. He's trying to push to get away from him. There's a coming together between the two players, and as soon as he felt contact, he's gone over. David Moyes is in his technical area. He's having a word with the fourth official. He genuinely believes that should have been a penalty kick.
Well, there was maybe a little bit from Antonio going the other way as well, but he was certainly having his shirt pulled. But it is going to be a corner to restart play, not a penalty. And now the referee is, before Ward-Prowse fires it in, stopping play and having a word with Xhaka, because there's still plenty going on inside that 6-yard box. Ward-Prowse comes to address the ball, and again he's told to stop. And this time it's Zuma who is being called over, I think in his role as West Ham captain, rather than because he's the chief protagonist in this particular situation.
And I think it's the two players, Tapsoba, who's picking up Zuma. There's been just a lot of shirt pulling, players coming together, manhandling each other. I think this is what happens in football in general these days.
So Ward-Prowse to take it, right-footed ball in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Goalkeeper did well to get it away, and the referee saw a push. And Zuma has been penalised. It's a free kick to Leverkusen inside their own box. 6 to go to half-time.
I'll tell you what, John, I don't think the keeper's convinced me. You know, he's came out and he's through a crowd of players. He's not really got any height or distance on it. He's actually flapped it back in just down towards the penalty spot. That's where you've got to get height. You've got to punch it high, get it out the danger zone. He didn't do that.
Leverkusen bringing the ball forward again down the left-hand side. Granit Xhaka clipped inside the penalty area. Oh, that was an awkward one. Fabianski watched it. It hit Emerson's thigh. Fabianski had to make sure that it went past the post and wasn't on target. It's out of play for a corner. Now, a former West Ham United man has scored. It's Gianluca Scamacca for Atalanta, who lead at Anfield. Liverpool 0, Atalanta 1. With 7 minutes to go to half-time. That is live for you right now over on Talksport as the corner comes in for Leverkusen. And it's headed away. I think Schick has gone down, I think with a facial injury. Oh, it's not Schick actually that ended up on the deck. It's Adley, he's okay. He's back on his feet. It's going to be a goal kick. So Liverpool trailing by a goal nil at home to Atalanta.
Yeah, well, bit of a shock there. You could expect Liverpool in the form that they've been in this season to be more than good enough to come through against Atalanta. But listen, they've done that before and they come strong in the second half or late in games and they score plenty of goals, so they won't be worried about that. And you look at the bench and Salah's on Diaz, two players who I think have been very good for Liverpool. And the manager's just looking after them as far as not overplaying them, because they've been playing so many games in quick succession in recent times.
Well, they have an absolutely outstanding record of coming from behind in games over the course of the season. But they're going to have to again today. Leverkusen bring the ball forward. It's 0-0 with 4 minutes to go. An entertaining goalless first half on Talksport 2. Palacios to Xhaka. Xhaka working it out to the Leverkusen left-hand side. Adley spending plenty of time out there now, but he couldn't link up with Grimaldo. And the ball goes out of play for a goal kick.
I'm just looking at Xabi Alonso in his technical area, and I don't think he quite understands what's going on. This is not how they normally play. You know, the passing hasn't been as good as it could be. The movement, as we've just seen there, with a little ball from Adley down the line to Grimaldo, too much pace on it, which went straight out for a goal kick.
And now an opportunity to bring it forward again, and lay off towards Schick. Schick turning, getting away from Ward-Prowse, back in towards Frimpong. Frimpong making his way forward. It ricochets off both ankles of Zuma, and then a left-footed shot from Frimpong might have come off his one of his teammates, and then deflected into a West Ham player and goes behind for a corner.
The poor strike was it from Frimpong. I don't think he's ever going to trouble Fabianski in the goal, but they've taken the corner quickly.
Stanisic played towards the edge of the penalty area, and another right-footed effort from Tapsoba, and it was a miscue clearance from Mavropanos, shanked away wide and out for yet another corner.
Yeah, I think there, because it came to him so quickly, Mavropanos, he just swung his right leg at it, got a bit of contact on it to throw out for another corner. When there was no real danger, it was really another poor strike from the Leverkusen player trying to get his shot on target.
2.5 to go to half-time. Grimaldo taking the corner, not his best by any stretch of the imagination. It's bounced once inside the penalty area, but it had already curved out of play before it got there, so it's a goal kick.
I'm not sure what he's trying to do there, Jim, to be honest. I mean, he's got such technical ability, and we've seen that with his free kicks this season, the goals that he scored. But there, I don't know, he's trying to whip it in. It's gone out of play, come back in. It had too much height on it, never troubled the West Ham players. But overall, you know, with 2 minutes before half-time, David Moyes will be delighted with what his team's done so far.
Well, without wishing to tempt fate in any shape or form, I think it bears reiterating that only one side have been able to stop Bayer Leverkusen scoring all season, and that was Borussia Mönchengladbach, who got a 0-0 draw here. One of only 2 teams to leave the Bayer Arena with any form of positive result over the course of this season. West Ham getting close to half-time with a clean sheet still intact. Not there yet, though. Granit Xhaka forced away by James Ward-Prowse in the midfield. Stanisic and Tapsoba, who scored in 2 of the last 3 home European ties, the centre-half. Back from him to Grimaldo. It's ball inside the area, commandingly headed away by Kurt Zuma. Stanisic fields that. Then a right-footed shot comes in from Palacios, which was a real miscue. It was going way wide, and Adley brought it under control on the edge of the penalty area, but he did so in an offside position. Free kick.
I think that shows you their frustration, Leverkusen. When you're striking it from 30 yards like that from Palacios, rather than what they would normally do, is just retain possession, go wide, maybe get across into the box, because the centre half had come forward for the set play, so they were in an advanced position. Then he decided to take the strike at goal, and Adley certainly was in an offside position, a good yard ahead of the last defender, Emerson.
I saw into the last minute of the first half. It's Leverkusen 0, West Ham United 0 here on Talksport 2. If you've got the Talksport app, you can keep abreast of events at Anfield as well. Our live commentary over on Talksport with Atalanta leading at Liverpool. Paquetá helping the ball forward. It's over Antonio. Tar just stood firm. Antonio tried to roll him, and Tar didn't let him. That is a battle that could be of real supreme significance in the second half.
Battle, and you like seeing that. It's an old-fashioned battle with two players, very physical. Antonio has had the better of Tar on occasions, that's for sure. A couple of runs that he's had that posed problems for that back line in Leverkusen.
Opportunity for Kudus to bring the ball forward through the midfield as we go into 1 additional minute at the end of the first half. Ward-Prowse has lost it. Leverkusen in their black and red shirts will bring it forward again. Schick laying it down towards the right-hand side behind Frimpong. He had enough time to be able to get back and field it. Xhaka to Palacios in the heart of the midfield. Bit of space for Adley. Adley 15 outside the penalty area, goes backwards. Palacios will play the way that he's facing out towards the centre-half Stanisic. 30 seconds to go. Xhaka chipping it in. Should be easy for Safal. His header away, brought down by Kudus, well inside his own final third. Paquetá had to stretch to bring that under control, and then he turns almost into trouble that did brilliantly to play away from Stanisic. Ward-Prowse will allow for Safal. Paquetá in the right place again, and once more offers an intelligent passing angle. Souček finds it, and that is the end of the first half. And West Ham United will be much the happier, because Bayer Leverkusen, with this supreme home record that they haven't really been able to force too many saves out of Łukasz Fabianski. West Ham had one really good early opportunity on the counter-attack. Kudus couldn't make the most of that. But for all the possession Bayer Leverkusen have had, they've just been hitting their head against a white brick wall. It's 0-0 at half-time.
What I'd say, Jim, at the moment, Leverkusen have run out of ideas. They don't really know how to break down this back line of West Ham. That's 5 that's back there, and it's not back 3, it's a back 5. You know, they're just standing virtually on the edge of their 18-yard box and saying to Leverkusen, come and break us down, and they've not been good enough to do it so far. I think Xabi Alonso will be delighted to get them in half-time, because they can just make 1 or 2 little changes to what they're trying to do at the moment, maybe to open up. He'll probably have a word with Frimpong and say, stop when you get the ball, just passing it backwards. If you're going to be positive, get at the left back as much as possible. Emerson's playing in that left back, left wing back position. Get at him, try to get to the byline, then whip the ball across the face of the goal, low and hard. They've had 3 or 4 good efforts, which have been well saved by Fabianski. But for a team like West Ham going away and playing in the manner that they have, David Moyes will be delighted. Whether they can continue that in the second half, whether Leverkusen will play the same way, we'll have to wait and see how the game develops. But so far, so good.
Any fine-tuning that you will expect David Moyes to be wanting carried out?
Just quieten Paquetá down, make sure he doesn't get a second yellow card, because he's so important to the way that West Ham play. You've just seen little bits of his play there when the ball came into him, how good he is in possession of the ball. Never panics, he always makes a yard to look for the right pass. I think they should trust him a little bit more and get him on the ball a little bit more often. You know, Ward-Prowse and Souček, we've not really seen them because they've been so disciplined just sitting in front of that back 5. So it's been a rear guard action. They're sitting deep, they're making it difficult for Leverkusen to play their open, attractive football, but that's part and parcel of the game. You've got to nullify the strength of the opposition, and West Ham have done that very well in the opening 45 minutes.
OK, Ray, thanks very much for now. The second half is to come here on Talksport 2. Let's bring you up to date with all of the goals as they are elsewhere. And elsewhere in the Europa League, as we mentioned, Gianluca Scamacca, the former West Ham United striker, has given Atalanta the lead at Liverpool at half-time. That's our live game over on Talksport. Benfica lead Marseille by a 1-0, and Roma a goal to the good at Milan. In the Conference League, Ollie Watkins has given Villa the lead at home to Lille. Bruges 1, PAOK Salonika 0. And results from earlier on in the Conference League, Olympiacos beat Fenerbahce 3-2, and Poulsen against Fiorentina was a goalless draw. A couple of games in the National League tonight. Fylde, who need a maximum of 5 points in the last 3 games to stay up, are being held at home by Gateshead. Gateshead only need to win 2 of the last 5 to make sure that they've got a playoff place along with their FA Trophy final spot. And the other game in the National League tonight, big one down at the bottom, Wealdstone above the drop zone on goal difference alone, trail at home to second bottom Dorking by a 0-0. Dorking 3 points adrift of safety. They'd be all but relegated if they lost tonight, but they lead away at Wealdstone at Grosvenor Vale. Wealdstone 0, Dorking 1. One game in the National League North. Spennymoor in the playoff places with a 3-goal win tonight. They're 3-1 up at home to Banbury, who will be relegated if it stays that way. The National League South, Farnborough 2, Chippenham 1. That will put Farnborough into the playoff places. Taunton down to 10 men. Goalkeeper Dan Lavercombe sent off, and Slough lead there by a 0-0. And Truro, who last played last night when they had a 0-0 draw against Eastbourne, are 1-0 down at home to Yeovil. It's their 5th game in 8 days. 7 points in the last 5 games will keep them up. They're not getting any tonight as things stand. Yeovil leading 1-0, and that early Rhys Murphy goal would be enough to make Yeovil the National League South champions. They're promoted unless they lose tonight. 1 more point needed from the final 4 games. Looks as though it's going to be coming tonight. It's Truro 0, Yeovil 1. So that brings you up to date with all of the goals across the continent and domestically as well. We've got the second half of Bayer Leverkusen 0, West Ham United 0 to come here on Talksport 2.
Europa League live on Talksport 2 with Village Hotels. With 33 locations across the UK, Village Hotels have everything under one roof for a great breakaway.
Not everything in golf makes sense, but buying pre-owned clubs does. We're Golf Bidder, an official partner of the PGA that helped millions of golfers over the last 25 years find quality and affordable clubs to improve their game. So while you may not always trust your swing, you can trust our clubs. Golf is difficult. Buying great value pre-owned clubs isn't. This week, save even more with 15% off thousands of drivers at golfbidder.co.uk, the home of pre-owned clubs.
Imagine delicious crispy chicken McNuggets. Go on, picture them now. Imagine if you could get 6 of them for just $2.49. How about 9 for just $3.49? Or 20 of them for just $4.49? Woohoo! Well, now you can, but not for long. Get yours by the 16th of April. From 11 a.m. until the 16th of April in store and via delivery. Delivery price, uplift and fees apply. Subject to availability, price of participation may vary.
White, true white, pure brilliant. What's the best
white? Our Dulux Decorator Centre team will help you find the perfect white. Here you go.
Thanks for the tip. I didn't see you there. Can I pay with my...
Trade account? Sure. With your trade discount and prices tailored to you, you'll save every time you shop.
Nice. When I'm done with my empty cans, what's the best way to...
Recycle them. Just drop them in store. We're with you from start to finish. Visit us in-store or online today. Dulux Decorator Centre. Moving forwards with you.
Boots Online Prescriptions is the service that fits around you. So if you're busy doing this, you can click and collect from a store that suits you. And if you're doing this, we'll send reminders so you have one less thing to think about. Even if you're doing this, you can still be managing everyone's prescriptions from one account. For expert advice, just pop in store and do this.
Hi, can I speak to a Boots pharmacist, please?
It's easy to sign up. Visit boots.com/pharmacy today. Boots. With you for life. Participating surgeries, NHS prescription fees may apply. Free delivery England only.
Talksport Breakfast in partnership with Arnold Clark. We guarantee the best used car deals in the UK. Move up through the gears every morning with top of the range sports edition, ABS, story breaking news, and more gold talk to the gallon. Plus a stellar lineup of super celebrity sports guests as standard. Talksport Breakfast every weekday morning from 6 on Talksport with Arnold Clark. We guarantee the best used car deals in the UK.
Strap yourself in for over 50 earth-shattering games across April on Talksport, Talksport 2 and the Talksport app.
What a goal!
Hear full live commentary of some of the biggest Premier League showdowns, including the race for the title,
and he scored!
Relegation survival,
brilliant save,
and the Merseyside derby.
Superb!
Cutting-edge coverage of all the top European football with live commentary of Liverpool and West Ham's quest for glory in the Europa League.
What a start!
Plus full live commentary of both FA Cup semi-finals.
It's a stunner!
Supersize your April with over 50 games of live football on Talksport, Talksport 2 and on the Talksport app.
On DAB+, online, via the Talksport app and on your smart speaker.
Oh, what a finish!
The Europa League live on Talksport 2.
We're underway. West Ham trying to crack the impenetrable Leverkusen. Antonio poking it past Tar, and he's got goal side of him, and he's knocked his square for goodness, and a left-footed shot was really poor. Now the left-hand side of the penalty area, a shot comes in from Schick, and Fabianski did well. And not too much in the way of highlights, and that has to constitute good news as far as West Ham United are concerned. Really good rearguard action from them so far. It is 0-0. You're listening to Europa League live on Talksport 2. We've got the second half to come in 7 or 8 minutes' time. Now, elsewhere today, the Manchester City midfielder Rodri's admitted that he needs a rest from football and is tired. Obviously, those were quotes that have done the rounds and have been the subject of much discourse. Villa's all-time Premier League goalscorer Gabby Agbonlahor joined Andy Goldstein on Drive, and they were debating if players should be so vocal about feeling tired during the course of the season.
Rodri has played 28 Premier League matches, Champions League 7 matches, Club World Cup 2 matches, Super Cup 1 match, Community Shield 1 match, FA Cup 2 matches, and for his country, Spain, he's played 6 matches. That's a total of 47 matches so far. And if they went all the way in every competition...
Hold on. Since when? Since August?
Since August, yeah.
August, September, October, November, December, 5. And where are we for? Okay. So 9 months. How many games?
47 matches.
So nearly 15, 9 months.
Okay, but most teams would have played. Most teams who are in all the competitions that Manchester City are in probably played maybe 35 by now.
But he's a footballer.
Okay, let me finish. But he's saying he needs a rest because he knows how good his team is, and he probably thinks, you know what? When you go all the way in the Champions League, all the way in the FA Cup, every game till the season in the Premier League, they could play 13 more matches.
Let me get that violin out.
What I'm saying, he wants to be at his peak. He's everywhere. Andy, he's the best.
He's 27.
He's so important for their team. He's everywhere. He's here, there. And against Real Madrid, it was the one time I watched Rodri and he wasn't at it. He was giving the ball away a lot.
He's got 90. He's got 90 minutes. He's got 45 minutes twice. And I say that because he's got a 15, 20-minute break at half-time.
But he's stiffened up at half-time anyway when you went during the game.
He's 27. He's not 97.
It's a lot of football.
Oh,
He could play 60 matches this season. You don't think that's a lot of football?
How many matches do tennis players play? They will play a 3.5. They will play a 3.5-hour tennis match. Finish it.
I'm sure they will say they're tired
and play the next day.
But I'm sure they will say they're tired if they was getting paid as like a season, not every tournament they're playing. I'm sure they'd be like, I'm tired. Can I miss out this?
You ever get tired?
100%. Because even when you're young and you're 20, 21, you're still going to feel it on your legs. We were top 4 right for 3 seasons in a row, and we finished 6th. Said it right then, didn't I? Because we sort of got tired. Even when you're in your 20s, early 20s, you still burn out, and you start the end of the season. You know what I mean? You're not at it as you was at the start of the season. You know what I don't get though, Andy?
I have a real problem with football.
But you know what I don't get though? Why say it? Yeah. Say it to your manager behind closed doors. Yeah. And the manager will probably say, okay, I can rest you this game. Maybe Luton on the weekend. That's the one game I can rest you. Like Arsenal did. They rested, was it Rice, Saka? They rested a lot of players, didn't they? Or just don't say it in public.
Or just say I've got a little niggle.
Yeah, but you don't have
hammy hurts.
Yeah, but you don't have to make that up. Like you should be able to have the trust. And Pep loves him. He's his main guy. Go and see the manager. Gaffer, I'm feeling tired. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to get an injury now because I'm so tired, and end up getting an injury that misses like big games, next week's game. So can I rest on Saturday and not play? I know what you're saying. You're sitting there now looking at me like, what? Rest? Old school managers like Fergie will say, get out. Do you mean, I'll do you a favour. I'll do you a favour and say, like, you know what, have a month off then if you need a rest.
Yeah. I will never say, come on, they're earning 150 grand a week. The amount of money they earn is irrelevant.
That,
the amount of money is irrelevant. It's not their fault they're earning crazy money. But what we'll say is that a 27-year-old sportsman in the prime of his life, I find it very difficult. He's playing 2 games a week maximum. He's got a physio. He's training an hour and a half a day maximum. It's a great life, right?
Yeah. Listen, it's a great life. Yes, we understand that. But Rodri's saying it for the reasons of like, you know what? I can feel my body. If I carry on playing every minute of every game, I'm going to get injured. I'm going to miss out on
that's a different way of looking at it.
Semi-final of a Champions League.
I get that.
I don't think he's saying it as if like, oh, he wants to pop away for a few days and get a holiday. No, I don't think he's saying it like that. He's still going to be in and around the team. But maybe, you know what? One game.
Yeah, listen, if his body is feeling it, I get it.
Yeah.
Right? Because his body's going to break, and you don't want that happening.
Exactly.
But if he's physically tired from playing too much football, I don't get that.
Yeah, I think he's probably when he says tired, he means like, oh, hamstrings are tightening up, my calves. I feel like someone's going to go. As a footballer, you know.
No, I can understand
what they used
that.
to do, right? When I under Tim Sherwood, we had these American sort of physios, and every Monday after a game, you had to go and do a test with them. And it was like a touch your toes test or machine between your groins, and you're testing your strength of your groins. So these different tests you did, and they would determine if you trained or not.
Well, it's a very interesting discussion there with Andy Goldstein and Gabby Agbonlahor over on Talksport on Drive earlier today. Ray Houghton, I just had a quick look while we were listening to that. The most number of club games that you played in this season, and I haven't got the international games to hand over that same campaign. The number of club games you played in the season of your career was 52. How much of a toll does it take? Do you have sympathy for Rodri?
Yeah, it can. There's no doubt, Jim, when the games are coming thick and fast. And it's the magnitude of them. They're not just like a normal game.
No, absolutely.
Every game's a high-profile game for Manchester City at the moment, so there's even more on it. Now, I can understand why players in recent times have been complaining about a little bit about fatigue. I mean, Liverpool, I think, in April got 8 games. 8 games, which is extraordinary, the number to play. It really is. So that's where the difficulty comes from. But I can only go back my own career, which you mentioned. And I remember when we beat Everton in the FA Cup final when it went to extra time 3-2. On the Tuesday, I played against West Ham and beat them 5-1. On the Friday, I played against Arsenal on the title qualifier which Arsenal eventually won 2-0 when Michael Thomas scored the second goal to give them the trophy on goals scored. And on the Sunday I played a World Cup qualifier for the Republic of Ireland. So that was 4 games in 8 days, and every one of them was a high-profile game. So it can be done, but I do understand where the tiredness and the fatigue can be a problem for some players.
Yeah, that 88-89 season was that one, in fact, that you played 52 club games for Liverpool. Just to put things in some perspective of the players that we're watching tonight, West Ham United have got a few who are in the 40s, and of course this is at this stage of the season where they're pushing for Europe by dint of their league position, and also pushing for more European silverware. These are pretty high-stake games. Thomas Souček's played more than anybody else. It's his 45th game of the campaign tonight, and Kudus is also in the 40s as well.
Do you know when you're playing a lot of games, though, Jim, it's normally when your team's doing well, because you're in so many competitions. So it should be a joy in many respects. It shouldn't be a chore. But once again, it comes down to the individual. You know, he's such a pivotal player as well for his side, and you know, there's a lot asked of him to cover lots of areas of the pitch, and that's why he might be feeling it a little bit more than one or two of the other players in the starting 11.
Well, when you've gone 66 unbeaten in your Manchester City career,
it's not bad, is it?
It's not bad. You're going to get picked every week, aren't you? When it comes down to it,
you're not going to leave him.
He's only feeling tired. He's only feeling tired because he's good. He is a wonderful player. So it's 0-0 by Leverkusen against West Ham United. The players are back out for the second half. No changes in personnel ahead of this second period, which Leverkusen will start. They're going from right to left. Lining up Kovac in goal, Stanisic, Tar and Tapsoba, Frimpong, Xhaka, Palacios and Grimaldo, Adley and Wirtz and Schick. West Ham Fabianski in goal. A back five with Safar, Mavropanos, Zuma, Cresswell, Emerson, Ward-Prowse and Souček, Kudus and Paquetá, and Antonio leading the line, and leading the line very well. By Leverkusen, black shirts and shorts with a big red cross on the front of the shirt. West Ham in their change kit of all white, defending the end away to our left-hand side. I'll give you the pertinent Bayer Leverkusen attacking stats from that first half in a moment. It just shows how well West Ham have been able to defend. But they've got more defending to do at the beginning of this second period, unsurprisingly, with Adley playing the ball to Palacios. Right-footed cross comes in, and it's blocked. Granit Xhaka is able to mop up, goes back out for Florian Wirtz. Now down towards the right-hand side from Granit Xhaka again. They've got 4 inside the penalty area, 5 inside the penalty area now. Palacios will turn away. And West Ham follow him out of the danger area. Granit Xhaka able to maintain possession. Finds Tapsoba to his left-hand side. Tapsoba on the left-hand touchline, turning neatly infield away from Kudus. That was excellent play. He's a centre-half of some repute, particularly in terms of a modern attacking centre-half. He's got it again. Very tall player with spindly legs, finding Granit Xhaka to Palacios. The second half has started the same way that the first did, really, with hardly any possession for West Ham United in the opening exchanges. The game as a whole, possession is 2/3, 1/3 to Leverkusen. They've had 17 shots to 1, but of the 17, only 5 have been on target, and only 2 have forced half-decent saves out of Łukasz Fabianski.
I'd say they were good saves from Fabianski. You know, he's done well, the goalkeeper, to get his positional play right. They've had a lot of the ball, Leverkusen, but I think they found it really hard to break West Ham. West Ham have been really disciplined. You know, you look at the 2 central midfielders, their job's to pick up Xhaka and Palacios. You know, they're going man for man in that area of the field, and they've done it really well. What they're looking for is if they can just get some joy down the flanks, get on the ball, get Paquetá involved a little bit more often. Same with Kudus on the right-hand side, because you know, when we've seen it in the first half, certainly Antonio's got the pace to get in behind the back 3. You know, he's the threat. So when you win it, if you can play quickly in behind for Antonio, you just might get an opportunity that way.
I make no apology for keeping up to date with the significant non-league goals tonight. The big battle at the bottom of the National League. Now Wilston 1, Dorking 2. Both sides scoring in the space of 2 minutes as West Ham get the ball away from inside their own penalty area. Taunton 2 down at home to Slough, down to 10 men, and Yeovil will be going up tonight. They're 2 up at Truro. The ball is with Emerson. And that's clear. Put out a play for a throw, which will be taken over on the Bayer Leverkusen right-hand side. 3 minutes gone in this second half. It is still 0-0. Xhaka calmly waiting for the ball. Just in a little bit of space. Stanisic didn't blame him. Palacios does. And now it'll be turned round the corner, but not effectively. Adley was waiting. And Emerson's going to be able to bring it away. For West Ham United, it was a decent approach play, but not such a good pass from Michail Antonio, and Leverkusen have won it back, and Granit Xhaka will be able to play a swift 20-yard ball forward. It's another good ball up the right-hand side of the penalty area. Crossing takes a deflection, and Souček on the stretch has diverted it away from Schick, and he goes through for Fabianski, who picks it up, but the appeals for a deliberate back pass were only from the Leverkusen supporters. They weren't from the Leverkusen players. It's still 0-0.
Completely outnumbered there, wasn't it, Leverkusen? If you looked at the number of Leverkusen players in and around the 18-yard box compared to West Ham, I think there was 2 for Leverkusen. There was about 7 for West Ham. So they're going to find it extremely difficult to break them down if they're not going to get more players in advanced position. And that came about with Emerson, broke down the left. It was a really poor ball in to Michail Antonio. It wasn't that, Jim. It was his reaction to run back. He was just jogging. You know, it was as if someone else will pick up my position. That's where you've got to switch on quickly. Get back into your shape.
I think in fairness to Antonio, there is not necessarily a doubt of his ability to be able to get 90 minutes, but he has to manage his workload and effort throughout the game.
Yeah, don't start chasing people when you don't have to. That'll be the first thing you'd be saying to him. You know, pick and choose the moments that you can get at the opposition to try and stop them coming forward.
Now the ball on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Verts for Frimpong, not the best ball in. Safar can get it away. Taps over at the back, sweeps up, and Antonio will chase after this, but Jonathan Tah's going to be there first, and he goes back to his keeper.
Do you know what, though? I thought the ball from Frimpong was into the right area, but there was no one in there. Schick comes short, you know, he's looking for a pull back, as was one or two of the other Leverkusen players. No one's really acting on it.
Now they try to thread the ball through towards Adley, and it was deflected. Schick had another go. That one was cleared. Kudus, back down as an auxiliary right back for so much of the game, is able to get that away. It was a high crossfield ball right across the edge of his own penalty area, but headed on towards Lucas Paquetá. He's the only player to have been booked tonight, and he was walking the yellow card tightrope pretty precariously at times in that first half, but seems to have calmed down over the last half hour or so. But he's already picked up the yellow card that will rule him out of the second leg through suspension next week. They will have Edson Alvarez back for that game, though. Here's Mavropanos for West Ham, finding Kurt Zouma. Zouma, another player who really has to be very careful of his workload with the problems that he's got with his knees, but when he's fit, what a magnificent player and leader he has been for West Ham United. 6.5 minutes gone in the second half, and it remains 0-0 here on Talksport 2.
Paquetá's the one, though, Jimmy. He's going to be a huge loss for the second leg. You can see the class that he's got. He's on a different level to his teammates. You know, when the ball's played into him, he's always so assured, and he makes a yard. Just with his touch, he takes it away from the opposition, doesn't allow them to get close to try and win the ball.
And he's been involved here as the ball was played forward. He had Stanisic right behind him, and he used his left arm for leverage. And I don't know whether it caught Stanisic around the bottom of the chin. He went down holding his eye. He's back on his feet. He's okay. There's a hand of apology from Paquetá, but the referee obliged to stop play because it was a facial injury, even though West Ham actually were in a good position. The play will restart with a drop ball to James Ward-Prowse on halfway, but there's absolutely no intent there.
No intent, Paquetá at all. He doesn't even know what Stanisic is. He's just got his arm up for, you know, leverage. That's all. He's just getting it so he can get up off the ground, and then inadvertently caught Stanisic just going to the ground. I mean, you thought he got smashed there, but it wasn't. It was only the merest of touches. He went over.
So Jack helping it forward. Tah will be able to get it away. It's a Leverkusen side who've won every game that they played at home in Europe this season. But so too have West Ham. So positive result here for the Hammers. They might feel that is an advantage with a small A going back to East London next week. They've won their last 11 home European ties. Grimaldo for Leverkusen. And Hammers have done well to prevent him having a save from set pieces so far tonight. They haven't given anything away in a dangerous area, really. Xhaka getting it forward. Now back out towards Grimaldo on the Leverkusen left again. And he's won a corner the first of the second half. It's Leverkusen's 7th of the night.
Yeah, well, there we should have played the ball back into Wirtz. You know, Wirtz done really well. Nice close control. Played it out wide to Grimaldo. Could have reversed the ball back into his path. He was free inside the 18-yard box. Decided to cross it. Just let it straight at the defender and out for a corner.
And like several of its predecessors, the corner's been worked short. Left-footed ball curved back towards the left-hand side of the box. Grimaldo for Wirtz. Wirtz didn't take a touch. Or he did take a touch, I beg your pardon. He didn't take a shot, which he probably should have done as the ball fell onto his left foot. And had he hit it first time, there would have been potential for Fabianski to be struggling from close range, but he wanted an extra touch, and that allowed Safar to come across and clear it.
And he put his hand up and apologised to his teammates there and to the crowd, because he knows he should have took the strike on there. He done it extremely well initially with his close control to make a yard to get the strike away with his left foot, and then passed up the opportunity, tried to over-elaborate in possession of the ball, and the chance had gone.
Leverkusen will bring it forward again. Werder Bremen away for them at the weekend. They win that game. They've won the Bundesliga. They have never been German champions. This is the 120th year of their history. They are champions-elect. Everybody knows they're going to win. It's just a question of when rather than if. We'll be hoping it's this weekend, and they will be in East London next week as the de facto champions. The ball with Tar on the edge of his own penalty area, and Antonio again making life difficult for him. We touched in the first half about the fact that was such an important physical battle between those two players. West Ham will bring it forward. It was Mavropanos caught, so he was by Schick, and by Wirtz, I beg your pardon, and as a result it's going to be a free kick which will be taken by West Ham just inside Leverkusen territory. 10 gone, second half, 0-0.
Yeah, well, once again, if you're looking at possession, it's certainly favouring Leverkusen at the moment. But for actually, clear-cut openings, there's not been many of them at all. They're really struggling to break down this West Ham side, who are very compact. They're well drilled at the moment, and they're keeping their shape really well. It's just whether they can be a force on the counter-attack.
Will Prowse trying to win a 50-50 with Patrick Schick. And then Emerson involved with Adley, and a yellow card is shown to Emerson, who's protesting his innocence. I think the ball bounced down near Adley. Emerson felt that he had a right to try and play it.
Did he step on him, Jim? I thought that was my first. As he played it there, he's gone for the ball, and then he's moving. It's a second movement. So he touched the ball initially, and then his foot went into Adley after that and caught him on the ankle. And I think that's what was the referee's decision to just the yellow card.
I think Emerson's really unlucky, because I think he's fallen over the ball, really. His miscontrol meant that his studs rolled over the top of the ball and took him down over the other side onto the foot of Adley, who was already lying on the ground. Either way, it's a yellow card for Emerson, and he too will miss next week's second leg because of suspension. As he and Paquetá ruled out. 0-0. Leverkusen again trying to bring the ball forward. Antonio back defending, can get it away. Paquetá takes it out towards the touchline. He will find Emerson to Paquetá again, trying to buy a throw. He worked it up the line for Emerson. Leverkusen did really well to keep it in. And Granit Xhaka has a quick cursory glance around to see who's where, and just pokes it off to his left-hand side again for Ezequiel Palacios. Good perceptive ball inside the penalty area. And Fabianski can make a comfortable save, although it wouldn't have counted anyway because Wirtz was offside.
Yeah, he looked like he went ahead of the last defender there, Wirtz. He was waiting for the ball to be played to him a little bit sooner from Adley. When he comes in field, you can see he just runs ahead of Kurt Zuma. He's certainly in an offside position. I mean, he's a comfortable save for Fabianski anyway. He wasn't going to pose too many problems for West Ham. We're coming up to near the hour mark at the moment, and you've a lot of hype about this Leverkusen side, and you talked about the number of shots that they had in the first half, but when you're looking at real chances, there's not been many of them, and that you've got to give the credit to West Ham in the way that they've been very disciplined defensively.
And now the Hammers will try and play the ball forward to get Antonio around the back of Tapsoba. It was overhit and goes out of play for a goal kick. I remind the Liverpool live for you right now over on Talksport are a goal down at home to Atalanta with a Scamacca effort that went straight through Quaveen Kelleher late in the first half. The winners of that take on the winners of Benfica, Marseille, and Angel Di Maria has just doubled the Lisbon side's lead there. Benfica 2, Marseille 0. And Di Maria getting his 16th goal of the season. This one's still 0-0. Right-hand side of the penalty area, Leverkusen on the attack. Souček is there to deal with a misdirected cross. And he's able to poke it away. Goes out of play for a throw which will be taken by West Ham. Winners of this one, don't forget, take on AC Milan or Roma. And Roma still leading the San Siro 1-0.
I bet that was a quiet affair, isn't it? Yeah, that'll be lively. Frimpong done much better there. I talked about maybe at half-time Xabi Alonso having a word with him, just saying to be a little bit more positive in possession. They'll run at the full-back as much as you can. Try getting to the bag line. Exactly what he done there, and he pulled it back, and not one of his teammates were there in a position to finish it off for him.
A second goal for Aston Villa at home to Lille. John McGinn has scored that. Number 9 of the season for McGinn. And the Scotsman has doubled Villa's lead. Villa 2, Lille 0. Unai Emery, such an extraordinary record of success in European football. And Villa leading by 2-0 will already feel as though it's a massive step towards the semi-final. That's in the Conference League. Here's Granit Xhaka. Xhaka about 10 yards outside the penalty area. Little give and go into the feet of Adley. And play back out towards Frimpong, who's been quite quiet in this second half. Xhaka again, left-footed ball inside the penalty area. Good covering from Safal. Had to come in from the right-hand side of the back five. Who's on the penalty spot as he headed that one away from Wirtz. And now Paquetá will carefully just guide the ball forward down the touchline for Safal. It gets towards halfway before checking back, trying to knock it off Schick. But it hit Schick and bounced to a Leverkusen player rather than going out for a throw, which was Safal's intent. West Ham have got their shake back behind the ball. Another line of 5 around the edge of the penalty area, but more defensive work to do. Frimpong back towards Palacios. Palacios rolling it in, and well read by Safal, who got there, just stepping up to the defensive line to get it away from Adley. And Mohamed Kudus on the counter-attack will be able to work it to his right-hand side for Paquetá. A second goal for Atalanta at Anfield. Liverpool 0, Atalanta 2. Scamacca's got them both. And Liverpool's hopes of a clean sweep this season potentially going up in smoke. Only potentially. Still the second half to come, of course. Still half an hour of the first leg tonight. But over on Talksport right now, Atalanta are 2 up at Anfield. Here's Wirtz. West Ham still holding Leverkusen. Adley travelling with intent towards the edge of the penalty area, poking across in which hits Safal. Kudus' work rate's been exemplary tonight. And he's done well to defend there again, poking through the midfield towards Paquetá, and West Ham can bring it away.
I think every West Ham player has been exceptional tonight. Just the discipline, the professionalism, just kept their shape really well. And they're all working so hard for the cause. You've seen Antonio now out that left-hand side. Paquetá's taking up that central position. In the last couple of moves that Leverkusen have had, brilliant defender from Sofal. His positional play was absolutely exceptional. On both occasions, he was in the perfect position to deal with it.
Now, massive turnaround in the big game at the bottom of the National League tonight, where Wilston were 2 down early in the second half at home to Dorking and now lead by 3-2, and that's a result that would all but relegate Dorking if it stays that way. It would take Wilston 3 points clear of the drop zone. 3-2 to Wilston. In fact, 4-2 to Wilston. They've just scored again. It's 4 in 20 minutes that they've scored in that game. Tab Sober's given a free kick away. And let's say the Leverkusen are panicking, but it's just a little bit of discontent coming from the terracing, and West Ham are growing into the game more and more.
It's frustration, Jim, because they're not doing what they have done in previous matches, which is overpowering the opposition. Normally the passing is very crisp, with little 1-2s, little give and goes. Having strikes at goal, getting leads and then going on and winning games comfortably. They've struggled to break West Ham down. And West Ham now, from this set play with Ward-Prowse over the ball, you're going to get a good delivery. Talks about the height in this West Ham side. Well, the quality of the ball will be there. It's all about who attacks it.
We're 18 minutes into the second half. Leverkusen 0, West Ham 0. James Ward-Prowse. He's got a 2-man wall standing near the corner of the penalty area, right-footed, plenty of whip on it. And just darted a little before he got towards Souček. Jonathan Tah could head it away. And Leverkusen will bring it forward towards halfway. The Hammers have got to make sure they get their shake back quickly. They have got 4 defenders back. Souček trying to come back quickly as well. Frimpong whipping a right-footed cross in. And they had enough bodies back to be able to get it away and alleviate the threat. Well, that was Leverkusen getting forward quickly with Zuma and co having pushed forward for that set piece. Palacios now finding Granit Xhaka. Palacios in his yellow boots, the Argentinian who has played in a couple of Copa Libertadores finals. He's sent off with one of them. Down towards Grimaldo. Grimaldo coming in off the left-hand side, works it back through the midfield again. Towards the edge of the D. Little clever flick ball over the top from Wirtz, but Schick hadn't made the run that he was expecting. Now it goes out towards Frimpong again. Schick waiting by the penalty spot. Low ball in towards the near post. Past Schick, not past Fabianski, got his hands down. It remains 0-0. West Ham nearly midway through the second half now with the clean sheet still intact.
Yeah, there was a cross shot there, wasn't it, from Frimpong? I actually think he's been more positive in the second half than he was in the first half, where he just kept doing the easy thing rather than try to take on the fullback. Once again there, he's got in behind Emerson and he's fired it in low and hard. He's hoping someone's going to get across the near post, but no one had made that run.
Just for a moment, Lucas Paquetá coming forward. Had options either side of him. He looked for Antonio. It was a poor pass. Now Leverkusen will be able to bring it away. So the National League finally Gateshead 1-0 for Ethan Mitchell. 20 minutes gone in the second half in Leverkusen 0-0. With Talksport 2. Grimaldo getting it into what he hoped was going to be a dangerous area, and the referee has stopped play immediately as Grimaldo got the cross in. Safal ends up flat on his back, and the referee immediately telling the West Ham medical staff to come on, because as he blocked the cross, he just ended up wearing it. He turned his head to the side and it smacked him pretty much on the ear and has just kiboshed him.
I think he's going to be okay. It's one of them occasions where just for a moment you know that you're all over the place and your head's spinning and you think, I've just got to settle down here, and I'm sure the medical team will look after and make sure that he's okay. But the attack that they had previously came from West Ham, had a free kick. When the ball was delivered in, Kurt Summer got it banged his head, and that's why it took him a lot longer to get back into his defensive position. He wasn't quite right when he got back into the 18-yard box. You could see him, he was unsteady on his feet. Fortunately, he's all right now to continue, because he's a huge player for them in that centre-back row.
Well, Bayer Leverkusen are going to make it a double change. And Nathan Teller, who really made his name at Burnley in their championship-winning side last season, is coming on. He's an international these days. He won his first cap for Nigeria earlier this season after a £20 million move from Southampton. Now they've taken the centre-half Stanisic off, and they've taken Frimpong off as well. So Teller will play in Frimpong's position. And they've also brought Nkapie on. And Nkapie, I would imagine, will play on the left of the three centre-halves, and they'll move Tapsoba over to the right-hand side to take up Stanisic's role. Safal has had his medical treatment after that bang to the face, and is now allowed back on the field. Play restarting with a Leverkusen throw. Zuma trying to defend. Schick trying to wrestle his way through inside his penalty area, and Zuma's there to be able to clear. Gets it forward towards Kudus, who's held it up well, then taking the free kick quickly, trying to get the better of Nkapie. And he'll take it down towards the right-hand touchline. Kudus just waiting for a challenge to come in and slid it past Palacios. That was excellent play.
Yeah, brilliant play. He was outnumbered, wasn't he? There was like 3 Leverkusen players against Kudus there, but he didn't panic at all. Retained possession really well. Waited for one of his teammates to make an angle.
Now the Hammers will be able to come forward again. It's Antonio. He overran that. I think he went over the dead ball line. The referee's assistant says no. Everybody was claiming it should be a goal kick. It's a goal kick now as Tapsoba deals with Antonio.
I don't know if they've intentionally done this, but it looks like Paquetá is playing in a more central position, and Antonio's gone over to that left-hand side. That's the last 5 minutes, the way it's worked out. And whether Antonio's fit enough to keep getting up and down that left side, I'm not sure. So I'm sure it's an area that David Moyes will be very conscious of.
You're listening to Bayer Leverkusen against West Ham United in the Europa League, live on Talksport 2 with Village Hotels. Visit villagehotels.com. Still 0-0. And Antonio wins another free kick. It was Tapsoba that was leaning over him. So the way that they've shuffled the defensive line round, it is pretty much Antonio up against Tapsoba now, and he's gone out to the left-hand side now that Tapsoba is playing on the right of the three centre-halves. That was a clear free kick given away by the Leverkusen defender.
Yeah, Tapsoba's not happy. He's complaining to the referee. He genuinely felt that he was up above Antonio and headed the ball, and it was just his momentum that took him into the West Ham player. But you can sense it in the stadium, Jim. You know, we've got just over 20 minutes left of the 90, but the fans are frustrated. They're not used to seeing this. This is a West Ham side that's been so disciplined, just kept that shape, you know, made it difficult for Leverkusen to get their passing game, passing through them, not just passing backwards and square, passing through them. We're not seeing Wirtz in the second half really have a massive influence in the game.
Well, we talked about in the early stage of the second half about the fact that the shot count in the first 45 was 17-1. The second half, it's been 1-0. And that's another victory for West Ham. Right-footed effort comes in from the edge of the penalty area, but is blocked before he gets in the 18-yard box itself. It was Palacios that had the effort. Comes back out for Tapsoba. Now to Palacios in his yellow boots. Behind square is Jonathan Tah. Granit Xhaka just tried to roll away from Mohamed Kudus, who came in on his blind side and very nearly embarrassed him. Then the ball is played in, and Schick with a little flick header sees it tipped over the bar well by Fabianski for a corner.
I'll tell you what, it's a great save, you know, because Grimaldo's done brilliantly to keep the ball alive. I thought he was actually going to go out for a goal kick when the ball was played to him. He took it out, initially passed, Soufal, and then just lifted it, and there's a good header from Schick towards the near post, and the keeper's got to react to it, and he just got a touch on it to take it over the top of the crossbar and behind for a corner.
Scored in each of his last 4 European ties. Patrick Schick, 5 goals in that 4-game run. And close to his 12th goal of the season in all competitions there. An injury-curtailed season as well. Corner work short, Palacios. It's Xhaka from distance through a crowd of players. Big shout for a handball as it hit one of the West Ham men inside the box. And the referee indicating that he's in consultation with the VAR. Play goes on. Tah with a cross from the right side of the penalty area is deflected away on Paquetá and goes out of play for a throw.
Well, we've just seen that his arm did come out there, Mavropanos, didn't he? He moved it from outside to in, closer to his body. The referee certainly seen it, and I'm sure it'll be looked at, of course, as they all are at the moment. But straight away, if you looked at Xhaka, he went straight to the referee because he could see that it certainly hit the West Ham player's arm.
Nathan Teller with the throw. Down towards the corner flag. Leverkusen maintaining possession. Flick it back round at the corner of the West Ham United left back Emerson. Down towards the left flank now for Grimaldo. Grimaldo coming in off the left flank. West Ham are going to be able to bring it away. Kudus taking it down towards the touchline, and he's found a little bit of contact, went to ground, and the referee agreed that the contact was significant enough to be worthy of a free kick. 18 minutes to go. It's Leverkusen 0, West Ham United 0. Marseille have one back in Lisbon against Benfica. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's 25th goal of the season. Benfica 2, Marseille 1. And Lille have the ball in the net of Villa Park, but I think it's been disallowed by the VAR. And it's still 2-0 with Watkins and McGinn with those goals. Liverpool trailing 2-0 at Atalanta. Antonio playing it forward. Paquetá coming back, leaning into Nkapie, trying to create some space for Kudus, but Kudus couldn't get there. And Nkapie is going to be able to bring it away on this left-hand touchline for Bayer Leverkusen. Substitutes an Ecuadorian international. More than 100 games for Leverkusen behind him. He's still only 22. Palacios back through the midfield. Florian Wirtz. Without wishing to tempt fate, West Ham have done a really good job on him. Xhaka now from distance. Another long-range shot, and Fabianski dives to his left-hand side. He had it covered. It's gone wide.
Yeah, he knew exactly where it was there, Fabianski, didn't he? And that's typical of Xhaka. 25 yards out, taking the strike on with his left foot, but the goalkeeper watched it all the way, and his positional play was excellent there because he looked at his post, knew it was always going wide at the target, just allowing it to go for the goal kick. This is the time now, not for 75, last 15 minutes game. Fatigue, that tiredness coming into your play. Managers will be looking at maybe changes to personnel to try and freshen up. West Ham won't like to do too many, particularly with the back five and the two midfielders. I've got to say, Ward-Prowse and Souček, you know, it's not eye-catching what they do, but very, very effective for the team.
Well, West Ham have 4 young outfield players on the bench. They've also got Johnson, Cornet, Ings, Ogbonna and Aged. And a couple of substitute goalkeepers as well in Anang and Knightbridge. 2 players who haven't made a first-team appearance between them for West Ham as yet. Leverkusen have already rotated the pack. They've made 1 double change, and I think another double change is imminent. First of all, though, a West Ham United free kick, which comes with 16 minutes to go. It's still goals. The free kick's over towards the left-hand touchline. That means that the angle is there for a James Ward-Prowse in-swinging delivery. Souček often the target of these coming in, but it's very easily claimed by the young goalkeeper, Mate Kovac, who has had one of those nights where he's glad he's not being paid by the touch. He hasn't really had too much to do, but Kovac came out and claimed that one very clean. He wasn't Ward-Prowse's best.
Yeah, it was poor, wasn't it, for Ward-Prowse? Expect a lot better from someone of his ability to deliver the ball in the box, particularly when your big centre-halves have come forward. You know, they're just waiting for the right delivery to try and attack it. And the fact that Leverkusen are about to make another double substitution tells you where they are as a team. You know, it hasn't worked out. You know, the starting 11 that started the game hasn't worked in the way that Xabi Alonso would have liked, and that's why he's making changes that he is. I just wonder with Mikel Antonio, if the manager will just keep him on. I looked at him a couple of times, looking a bit jaded, and you can't afford to carry anyone at this stage of the game.
Well, it looks as though it's going to be Hoffman and Boniface who are going to be coming on. Boniface is the leading goal scorer. He scored in his last 3 Europa League ties. The Nigerian international has not started since December because of a groin problem, but he's still got 16 goals this season. And he's coming on to replace Schick. 4 goals in the group, 10 in 17 Bundesliga games so far this season. And the other player coming on is Jonas Hoffmann. He scored 7 goals in his first 12 games this season, but hasn't netted in 24 since October. So a double change made, 15 to go. Now it's Leverkusen 0, West Ham United 0. So Boniface coming on for Schick, and Adley was the player that was replaced by Hoffmann. So 2 straight swaps. And Capia trying to deal with Kudus, and he did so with foul means rather than fair. Free kick to West Ham on halfway. This would be a great result, you know, if they could get a 0-0 here in the context of Leverkusen's season. That really would be fantastic. They've still got to punch his chance and more yet. Emerson making his way forward, a rare sortie from left back in what has been a back 5 pretty much exclusively throughout the night for West Ham. And he's won a throw over on the far touchline midway inside the Leverkusen half with 13 minutes to go.
It shows you the confidence in this West Ham side now that they're actually pushing forward. You know, they're looking to try and get a goal in the game. Think about it, Jim. 2 of the teams coming into the last 8 matches tonight, Liverpool and Leverkusen, talked about potential finalists, and one of them was going to go and win it. Liverpool 2-0 down, and Leverkusen at home drawing 0-0 at the moment with West Ham. Neither of them might not make the semi-finals the way things are going at the minute.
Oh, a long way to go. Yeah. Your old Liverpool fans shouting at you. They're having the temerity to...
No, I'm just saying.
To doubt their ability.
No, listen, Liverpool more than capable, either home or away, to win football matches, there's no question about it. But when you come into it, you know, the odds that were given earlier on, it was all about Liverpool winning and Leverkusen winning this, and maybe Atalanta and West Ham being out of it in the second leg. That isn't the case. That's the point I'm trying to make at the moment. Both these teams are well in it.
Absolutely. Well, that Liverpool game continues for you right now, live over on Talksport with Dean Ashton alongside Sam Matterface. Ray Houghton's alongside me for this 1-0 between Bayer Leverkusen and West Ham United. 12 minutes to go on Talksport 2. Verts able to play it forward through the midfield for Boniface, who's inside the centre circle. Oh, it's a brilliant ball forward, and Fabianski has done really well. He sprinted towards the edge of his penalty area and just did enough to throw Houghton off his stride. And as soon as that had happened, Fabianski knew he was going to get there first, and he slides in and clears it. Right-footed. Boniface has it again. That was a really perceptive pass from the big Nigerian, though. And now Ward-Prowse comes back, and he's claiming he's played it off Boniface and out of play. And the referee says, yeah, you have. It's a goal kick.
That's the first time I've seen West Ham played through, with one pass. You can see Mavropanos square on, not looked to his left-hand side to see where Hoffman was. Sweeper keeper, though. I think he's been excellent tonight, Fabianski. He's came out, he's read it. He knew he was going to get there ahead of the attacker Hoffman who was running in, but couldn't allow it to come into his arms. So he had to do something with it. It looked like he needed it out of play for a throw, but very good goalkeeping from Fabianski once again.
And we got more live football coming up for you tomorrow night. A massive game at both ends of the Championship table, with leaders Leicester going to Plymouth, who are still in relegation bother. Plymouth-Leicester kicks off at 8, and it's exclusive to National Radio on Talksport 2 tomorrow night. I'll tell you what's coming up on Saturday in a moment. Nkapie making his way forward here for Leverkusen. As you want to corner, it's a throw as Mavropanos comes across, and he's had a really solid game in quite a quiet kind of way.
So who's going up in the Championship?
Leeds going up, and not sure who's going up with them. Not sure.
Fascinating. I'm not even sure. I mean, it's brilliant. 2 or 3 in it.
It's been a majestic Championship title race and a majestic Premier League title race, and still we don't know with any degree of certainty what's likely to happen. All we do know is that the climax for both will be on the TalkSport network. We've got 60 live games for you in May, and all the playoff games are coming your way as well from the Championship League 1 and League 2. Leverkusen bring the ball forward here towards the edge of the penalty area. Florian Wirtz, it's 0-0 with 10 minutes to go, and a right-footed effort is comfortably claimed. Fabianski took a step to his left-hand side to catch it. Talking of that Championship promotion race, Leeds are in action Saturday. They're at home to Blackburn. Adam Bridge will talk you through that one from West Yorkshire. 12:30 here on TalkSport 2. Saturday in the Premier League, our exclusive game, a game day exclusive, Newcastle against Spurs, with Champions League ramifications. That's a 12:30 kick-off, the build-up at 11. TalkSport 2 Saturday afternoon for Forest, trying to get themselves out of bother. It's very close for comfort there down at the bottom. They're at home to Wolves, and that's a 3 o'clock kick-off. TalkSport 2 Saturday afternoon. Sunday, Spurs Leicester in the Women's FA Cup semi-final, followed by the other one, Manchester United against Chelsea. They kick off at 12 and 2:35 respectively.
Yeah,
here and now, 8.5 to go at 0-0.
Great weekend of football ahead, isn't it? Lots of promising matches, so much at stake at the top of the table, trying to get into the Champions League. Teams trying to stay above relegation as well.
The implications of this result, if West Ham can get a draw here, has a massive effect on the UEFA coefficient, which in turn governs whether 5th spot is going to be enough for Champions League football next season. If West Ham could knock Leverkusen out and Arsenal could knock Bayern Munich out, that would be just about job done for the Premier League. If not, it might be that whoever finishes 5th in the Bundesliga goes into the Champions League. Here's Nathan Teller, right-hand side of the box. Haven't seen too much of the former Southampton and Burnley man since he's come on, but he's won a corner here, which will be taken on the Leverkusen right with 8 minutes to go at 0-0.
It was either Teller or Frimpong who's on exactly the same cross. It's just low and hard and straight at the West Ham player. There's no real thought that's gone into it. They're not trying to clip it, trying to look for Boniface who's in a central position. It's just a low and hard ball, nothing to it. West Ham have defended that type of cross time and time again this evening.
In comes the corner from the right-hand side, very deep towards the far post. Boniface, what a block from Zuma. Another left-footed effort comes in from the edge of the penalty area, and Hoffman has squeezed it past everybody. And West Ham's resistance is broken with 7 minutes to go. They just couldn't deal with the corner. A brilliant block from Zuma as Boniface flashed one in. but it broke out of the edge of the penalty area, where a left-footed shot from Houghton beat everybody. Creeps into the bottom left-hand corner, and it's advantage by Leverkusen.
No one's picking up Houghton at all. I mean, if you're looking at Emerson or even Kudus on the edge of the box, neither one of them really goes to put Houghton under any pressure whatsoever. I tell you what, technically this is brilliant, because there's an awful lot of spin on the ball. We've seen the spin on the ball. It didn't really favour Houghton. It's come through a crowd of players, and I think Fabianski can't react to it. I think he thinks Mavropanos is going to clear it with his left foot, and he reacts late and couldn't get down to his right hand side to make the save. But this stadium is absolutely erupted, and I think it's just the fact that when you look at Alonso, it is relief, Jim, that they've got this goal. Joy, but relief, because this could have been such an important result for West Ham at 0-0. At 1-0, it gave certainly Leverkusen a slight advantage for that second leg.
Jonas Hoffmann's first goal in 25 games since October. And Leverkusen lead West Ham by a goal to 0. And at Anfield, Liverpool are 3-0 down. Mario Pasalic, 7 minutes from time. Liverpool 0, Atalanta 3. A little bit of time for that scoreline to sink in, I must admit. Liverpool unbeaten at home in 33 matches, but 3-0 down at Anfield tonight. And West Ham trailing this by a goal to 0. Now, Granit Xhaka, West Ham have to do is make sure that it's only a 1-0 defeat if they can't get themselves back into it. Boniface, the angle's tight, can't get himself into a shooting position. He's got Grimaldo for support to his left. Just tries to nudge it outside the penalty area. He lost it, but then won it back straight away, and then Kudus has done well, and he can bring it forward. And Kudus gets towards halfway. Couldn't find a way past Palacios. Paquetá went in very strongly, nudges it on towards Kudus, having won it back. Kudus ran down a blind alley, and Xhaka regains possession for Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, just winning the second balls now, aren't they, Leverkusen? The home support getting behind their team. One or two players have gone down. A bit of cramp. Mavropanos is down inside his own half at the moment, just waiting for some medical attention. Boniface, come on, he's a different type to Sheik, isn't he? He's physical, he's strong, he wants to hold you off the ball, he wants to run at you. He just overplayed slightly in this left-hand side when he gave the ball away, which allowed West Ham to break on Leverkusen. Seeing a replay of the goal, he came through a crowd of players that should have dealt with that West Ham. I mean, technique-wise, that's really difficult, you know, because the ball was spinning away from him, and he's done everything in his powers with his weaker left foot just to get it on target. Someone's got to clear it, or the goalkeeper. That's where there's a little bit of lack of communication in the box, Jim, where the goalkeeper's got to take charge of that, scream at his players, let that my ball come out, and be so determined to win it and not allow the ball to squirm into the goal in the manner that he did.
West Ham make a double change, and Mavropanos has got a problem. He's gone off injured. Received a little bit of treatment. They've decided to rotate the packs, and Ninth again has come on to replace him. Again, who hasn't featured too much recently. Ben Johnson has come on as well for the Hammers. 3.5 minutes to go. Johnson has replaced Kudus. So that's a conservative change. Johnson, who has played actually some of his recent displays much higher up the field than earlier times in his career. He's had one game as almost as a 10, one as a right winger, and he's going to be playing as probably a pretty defensive right-sided midfielder for the time that remains, taking Kudus' role. 3 to go. Leverkusen 1, West Ham 0. Is clearly imperative from a West Ham perspective that if they're to lose this, they only lose it by 1.
They would have taken that before the ball was kicked, Jim, wouldn't they? If you'd have said to David Moyes, look, you're going to take 1 goal deficit into your second leg, they would have said thank you very much, you know, because they know how good they are at West Ham. The form's decent at home.
Because of off the right hand side of the penalty area, Boniface attacking it. It's come off the top of his head, gone high up in the air, and it'll be cleared outside the penalty area. Johnson chasing after that, has been judged to have given a free kick away. Leaning into Granit Xhaka as he attacked the ball. David Moyes, I think, is making the point that there wasn't anywhere else for him to go, And he might have had a case, but the free kick's been given.
It's a dangerous position as well, isn't it? Just a couple of yards outside the box. There's no need to go in the manner that he did to try and win it. Granit Xhaka's gone absolutely nowhere. He wants contact. He wants someone to touch him so he can fall over. That's exactly what Johnson did there. An opportunity now for Leverkusen to deliver the ball into the box. With only about a minute and a half left of the 90 if they were to get a second now.
Grimaldo into a dangerous area. Two West Ham players attacking it. Between them, half cleared it. Then Xhaka from distance. That has hit somebody. Then it's cleared off the line by Souček. And it comes out for Jonathan Tah, who's fired it over the bar. That's a let-off.
I think Agi had the first time, and then Souček twice, where West Ham just didn't deal with the initial ball in. Tah with the strike, and there was the block from Aguirre. I think it was Xhaka with the strike in Souček once, and then Tah again, and it looked like it was going to angle into that far post, and Souček was there once again to help his goalkeeper out to keep the scoreline at 1-0.
Desperate last-ditch defending from West Ham United. But you know, this time next week, that might just end up being a pivotal moment. You never know. We're in the 90th minute. Villa's lead halved late on at home to Lille. But Fodi Diakate has pulled one back for Lille. Villa 2, Lille 1. Liverpool 3 down at home to Atalanta live on Talksport. And over on Talksport, the boys on the sports bar will be wanting your reaction to that and this gutsy West Ham United performance, but ultimately gutsy in defeat the way that things stand at the moment. 20 seconds of normal time to go. It's going to be maybe 3-4 minutes to be added on, and Leverkusen are going to take a corner. On the left-hand side, West Ham have got to make sure that they can deal with the threat.
I think people will question the way that West Ham played. It was the right decision to place it deep and get numbers behind the ball. It was. You know, they nearly got a famous 0-0 draw out of it.
In comes the corner, swung in deep. Oh, Boniface, it's 2. It has unravelled really quickly at the end of the game. And 2 substitutes have done the damage. Victor Boniface at the far post coming in, pretty much unmarked, powers a header in. And 10 minutes ago, it looked as though West Ham United might just have built themselves a platform for a magnificent victory over 2 legs. Now, they've got so much to do because they're going to have to overturn a 2-goal deficit against a side who haven't been beaten since May.
Oh, what a delivery this is. There's no question that Boniface is on side. What a header this is. It was actually slightly behind him. And it was Houghton, the substitute, who delivers it. And Boniface who came on as a substitute. And this is a great header. The power he got on it to direct Lobby in behind Fabianski gave him no chance whatsoever to double the lead for Leverkusen. But this is typical of Leverkusen. This is what they did against Karabakh. You know, when they were down, they were out, and then they produced 2 goals to take them through to this game against West Ham United, and in a match where there's no doubt, Jim, they were the dominant force as far as possession, and they had the better chances. But West Ham were disciplined, focused, professional. But this is what they do, Leverkusen. They get late goals, and they've done that with the 2 goals that they've got in this match.
First leg of the Europa League quarter-final last season, Victor Boniface scored on this ground for Union Saint-Gilloise against Bayer Leverkusen. Such an impressive performance that he earned him his move here. Now, 12 months on, he scored in the quarter-final first leg again, and Leverkusen will feel that it's providing them with the passport to another semi-final. They lead West Ham 2-0. There's a minute of stoppage time to go, but I think that's going to be elongated because of the celebrations to the goal. Boniface actually almost hurt himself in celebrating because he raced down towards the corner flag and lost his balance and almost ended up in the hoardings, opening up his groin. He is okay, he's able to continue. And we've got about a minute or so to go. West Ham trailing by 2-0, and there will be a massive sense of realism about how difficult that's going to make the task for next week. Xhaka out towards the right-hand side for Tapsoba. The centre-half will come forward. It's back for Granit Xhaka again. Left-footed crossfield ball for Grimaldo. Grimaldo on the left-hand side of the penalty area, just working into the edge of the box for Wirtz. Wirtz. Pull back towards the edge of the penalty area. Palacios. Back down towards Wirtz again. Wirtz to Hoffman, trying to open up the angle. Xhaka coming onto it. Right-footed shot from him. Fabianski can claim, and make the save, and that probably means it's going to end 2-0.
The last 10 minutes it's just been all Leverkusen, isn't it? You know, not only have they scored the 2 goals, the 3 blocks that West Ham got just before the second goal was quite incredible as the final whistle goes, and it's a massive result for Leverkusen. For West Ham, so close but so far.
Well, it looks as though it's going to be a much, much better night than has transpired for West Ham United. 0-0 going into the final 7 minutes in the face of untold Bayer Leverkusen pressure. But they buckled. Hoffman off the bench on 83. Boniface off the bench a minute into stoppage time. Bayer Leverkusen with a 2-0 win. And although West Ham have got a heroic record of being able to overturn first leg deficits at home to go through, it will be the comeback of them all if they can see off Bayer Leverkusen next Thursday in East London, because they've got to win by 2 goals against the side who are unbeaten in 42 games in all competitions and who will have won the German title by the time they play the second leg. And they need that 2-goal victory even to take it to extra time. David Moyes runs a hand through his greying hair. He knows that the last 7 minutes here will almost certainly have eliminated West Ham from Europe.
Well, listen, there's still a chance. You've still got to believe, if you're a West Ham fan, that in that second leg next Thursday at West Ham Stadium with all the home support, they're driving them on and they'll take the game to Leverkusen. There's no question about that. But Xabi Alonso's on the pitch with his players at the moment, congratulating them. And it comes down to good management, making changes at the right time, bringing on Hoffman, bringing on Boniface, certainly gave them an extra dimension, and they too got the goals that have given Leverkusen this 2-goal advantage.
In the end, 32 shots to 1 in Bayer Leverkusen's favour.
Well, that tells the whole story, doesn't it? Where they dominated, there's no question about it. West Ham, we said throughout that 90 minutes, you know, they just sat in a defensive shape. They frustrated. They got the blocks in at the right time. I thought Leverkusen were a bit wasteful at times, run out of ideas at times where they could break through West Ham. A lot of the shots were from distance, but in the last 10 minutes there was a bit of fatigue from the West Ham players, and that's where Leverkusen got on top, and they got the balls into better areas, got numbers in and around the box. Hoffman's goal will still be questioned. David Moyes will be asking questions of his defenders and his goalkeeper. Why didn't we deal with it? Because the strike from Hoffman wasn't in the corner, it was virtually in the middle of the goal. And someone should have dealt with it, either a defender clearing it or the goalkeeper being a little bit more decisive. I'm loath to blame Fabianski because I think he's had an exceptional night. He's made some really good saves. But then, this is what Leverkusen do. They've done it so many times in this competition against Karabakh with the late goals that they scored. Alonso's walking off at the moment, got a big smile on his face, but he knows that they were 7 minutes away from maybe drawing that game 0-0, and they would have made it much, much more difficult in the second leg against West Ham.
Well, your chance to react to this West Ham United performance and Liverpool's over on the Sports Bar. 03717 223344. You can book your call now. They'll be taking them very shortly on the Sports Bar on Talksport. Liverpool tonight beaten 3-0 at home by Atalanta with Gianluca Scamacca, the former West Ham United striker, scoring 2 of those. So Leverkusen 2, West Ham 0, Liverpool 0, Atalanta 3, still playing in the very late stages of the other 2 Europa League games. Milan 0, Roma 1, Benfica 2, Marseille 1. They're in the 5th minute of stoppage time at Villa Park in the Conference League. Villa 2, Lille 1. They're seconds away from being able to take a first leg lead to Northern France for next week. Bruges 1, PAOK Salonika 0. And earlier results, Olympiacos beat Fenerbahce 3-2, Pulsen 0, Fiorentina 0. Some big games in non-league tonight. In the National League, Fylde 2, Gateshead 0, Wealdstone 4, Dorking 2. Wealdstone 3 points above the drop zone now. Dorking all but relegated. They can only stay up on goal difference. Their goal difference is 16 worse than York City's. Their chances, I think, next to none. National League North, Spennymoor have beaten Banbury 5-2. So Banbury are relegated. National League South, Farnborough 3, Chippenham 1, Taunton 0, Slough 4, and Truro 0, Yeovil 2. And congratulations to Mark Cooper and Yeovil. They are promoted as National League South champions with 3 games to spare back at the first attempt. Well, as I mentioned, coming up for you right now over on Talksport is the Sports Bar. Also, tomorrow morning on Talksport, the breakfast returns at 6 with Alan Brazil, joined by Arsenal invincible Ray Parlour and legendary jockey AP McCoy amongst their guests. They'll be building up to the Grand National. But from Ray and myself, we'll leave you with a night of West Ham frustration, beaten tonight 2-0 in Leverkusen. Next up, it's following on here on Talksport 2 with Neil Manthorpe and Steve Harmison.